getting ready to come.
And hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I am the Lord.
Last words, brother.
Shalom, shalom, ma.
All right.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
All right. Shabbat shalom, Israel. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Right.
Pray that you all are having a blessed Shabbat and everything. I see we got a few folks coming on here, so we're going to just give a few more seconds here before we get started and everything. I just had to update a system, so if you can hear us loud and clear, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat box.
All right.
Put a 1. We'll wait. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. We got T Hicks. We got D Parks.
God, shalom.
Good stuff. We got more on too, and I understand that a lot of our people that are on are from other countries too, so they might not have access to be able to comment or anything like that. So, but they can listen in and everything. All right. So y'all see the name of the title, the head of the household. So, you know, we got some good things that we're gonna really talk about tonight. And yep, so get ready because it's going to be one of those exciting lessons. A whole lot to cover. Now, I do want to put out something. I want to put out a house note. Now, I know y'all been rocking with us for a while now, and we've had this channel for a while. And, you know, just Israel, please make sure that every lesson we do, you know, write these scriptures down, study them, build your precepts up and everything, because that's the only way that you're going to get it. You're gonna have to rehearse these scriptures because, you know, if our people are not studying the scriptures, if they're not rehearsing it, and if you're just watching the videos for entertainment and everything, you're really not going to get anything out of it. You know, the whole purpose is to get these lessons and to study the precepts so you can build these precepts up and just constantly rehearse them in your mind. You know, and that way you have them. So when you come up against tough situations where you need to pull scriptures, you know, you can have them right there and everything. You know, even, you know, you can get creative with it. There's many ways you can do it. You know, you can put them on your phone. You can put them in your, you know, there's apps, there's flashcards. You know, there's I can't tell you, you know, the best way to study and build your precepts. That's something that you're going to have to develop on your own and find the best way to study for you. But what works best for me is that rehearse them day and night. You know, just rehearsing scriptures in my mind. The Bible says in Psalms 119:11, I have hid the word in thine heart that I might not sin against thee. So what does that mean? That means that you constantly meditating on the word, you know, you're meditating on the scriptures. And especially scriptures dealing with this truth, you know. For example, you know, all the doctrines that we've been teaching in the scriptures on the role of the man, role of the woman, and what have you, know, those are the main scriptures you should really, really have down pat and know them by heart. You know, stuff like that. Stuff that's dealing with the laws, the Shabbats. You know what I'm saying? Who you are as a people. The covenant, who was the covenant given to? It was only given to Israel. See, you should have those verses locked and loaded, locked down. You know, other verses you can find on your own and everything, but you want to really get those controversial verses that people like to question a lot and everything. And especially with this whole Christianity thing, you know, because people like to, you know, the Christians love to run to Paul and everything, but you know, Paul was talking about the law. There's certain things he could not say because he was a Roman citizen for one, and it was against the law to speak any kind of bad thing against the Roman Empire, or we can do life in prison or be killed. So you know, you just got to understand these scriptures and everything. Do you want to add something to that?
Well, just like I want y'all to know, like the reason why we go over so many scriptures, well, the same scriptures over and over again, right? Where it seems that it somewhat might be repetitive, is because we know that, you know, sometimes it takes a lot for us to get these one particular scriptures before we can move on to the rest. You know, we're waiting for like questions that'll let us know that we can advance these lessons, and to let us know that y'all are actually listening. And we see these different questions and, you know, interactions on the comment board, whether it be emails or whatnot, you know, like we just don't want to be sitting and like telling y'all the same thing every week, and y'all not really getting it down. But that's why we do it, because we know it's going to take a lot, you know. And also, like, if you just read like the precepts that we do give, you know, it's going to lead to other precepts that we have yet to cover. You know, like this, these are the things that me and Brother Daniel were looking for, right? For you guys to be, you know, to say like, so we know we're just not up here just blowing hot air. You know, that y'all actually in the scriptures, y'all are reading. You know what I'm saying? And then y'all are asking, asking intelligent questions. Because if you go to these precepts, you know, if you read the whole thing, the whole chapters, it should lead you to other precepts. You know, dealing with the same situation. Right, and that should you know, spark, you know, more intelligent, you know, conversations between the Hebrews for us to continue to build and grow in the spirit.
That's right. And to add to that, and this is how me and Brother Aton build up scriptures too. You know, we talk amongst one another, and you know, we study, we pull, we send each other scriptures as reminders and everything. And we can, both of us, we can go anywhere separately. We can go anywhere pretty much, and just if anybody tries to like try to take us with the scriptures, because we don't run from no scriptures. You know, we can very well defend ourselves and very well pull the scriptures that we need in order to show people, you know, hey, this is the truth, this is the light, and this is the way. And like I said, some of y'all have been with us for a while, so you know, some of y'all should almost damn nearly be scholars by now. You know, whatever all the scriptures we've gone over. So, you know, with that being said, we're not going to continue to beat this horse, but we just want y'all to just be continent, you know, just be conscious of this. And every scripture we get, just write it down, build it up in your precepts. You know, you want to categorize your precepts or however you want to do it, and then you can sub-categorize them later on in everything in your study. So, you know, so that's going to be important, y'all, because that's going to be our lifesaver. That's how we're going to be able to swing that, you know, perfectly swing that sword and everything skillfully, and using the right precepts and when we need to use it along, you know, with the power of the Spirit. So, all right, so we're going to go ahead. We got about 12 people on. We're going to go ahead and get into the scriptures. The title of the lesson is The Head of the Household. So again, another scripture that we've gone over quite a few times, and this is something that you all should have written down. You know, this is something that memory, you know, memory muscle. 1 Corinthians 11:3, bam. All right, let's read it. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Mashiach. And notice it says the head of every man. You know, it's talking about the Israelite man. So the way the order was set up, that's the way it was set up. That every man is Mashiach, and the head of the woman is the what? Is the man. Notice it didn't say the Mashiach. Notice it didn't say the woman. It says, and the head of the woman is the man. There's a reason why the Most High meant that. And the head of Mashiach is Yahuwah. All right. So you got to understand this order, because when we go back to the beginning, and if you don't have anything to add to this, I'm going to go to Genesis right quick. Now, we already know the story. We already know what happened. Eve was deceived first, and she gave in. And what was so bad about this is that Eve knew what she was doing when she gave this, whatever this fruit looked like, to her husband. All right. She knew, deeply she knew. And see, one thing about women, you got to understand, is that women operate directly off of feelings. This is why women are not critical thinkers. This is why you don't see a lot of engineers or builders, because women are directly off of emotions. And that's why when you see and you teach, they don't teach like a man, because their whole system is wired differently. A woman is wired on emotions and feelings, because that's the way the Most High made them.
And that's not a bad thing, you know, and that's not a bad thing. That's a compliment to you know, us brothers being you know, logical, you know what I mean, for us, the way, you know, like that's a compliment to that, you know. It's like
okay, let me give you an example of that. Like, you come home from work, you don't work about damn nearly 12 hours, you know, you just dragging in the house and everything. That woman being connected with her feelings can calm, you know, her man and everything. And that's where you can see where that would be, where that talent would come in at and everything. You know, and the woman has always been made to be the garrison of the home. And that is the order. So let's look at this right quick. And I'm gonna start with verse 14. And feel free to jump in anytime. So Genesis chapter 3 and verse 14. And it says, and And God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. All right. And I will, now look at this, verse 15, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Now, verse 16 is the one I really want to focus on. Matter of fact, let me highlight that right quick, because I want you to see the significance and implication of this and why this had to be. It says, unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception, meaning childbirth. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire, get this, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Now, don't get it twisted. Now, don't think just because it said this that this didn't exist before Eve fell, because Eve was always under Adam. Adam had, no matter even before, Eve was even created, the Most High gave dominion, everything to Adam. Am I right or wrong?
God.
So that means that when he created woman out of the rib, then also Adam had dominion over her. But this made it even increase now. So it's like, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee, because they were perfect. They didn't understand sin back then, before that happened. So just laying the base, going from the very beginning, and just laying out the order of the role of the man, the household. The man of the household is the man of the household. And it's going to go back that way. It's going to get back to when the Most High comes, when we go into the wilderness. Guess what? All this free thinking stuff, all this boss, whatever you want to call yourself, boss D, this and that, I'm the man. And this whole feminist agenda is going to crash down to the ground, because our enemies know that they're trying so hard to push this feminism on our people. And they're putting all the women in the men's spot. And they're doing the vice versa to the men. They want to emasculate all the men, make them more feminine. And you can see that even in the movies that they're bringing out. All right, Doc, what you got?
Well, let me go ahead and switch it up. All right. Well, what we need, first of all, is, to be head of a household, right? We need to understand, the actions, the actions, what it takes, the characteristics of a real man according to the scriptures, right? So let me go ahead and share this real quick. Let me see, how can I do this? Give me a second, Israel. Let me figure this out.
Why he's doing that too, and it's interesting you say that, man, because the level of respect for the man has totally gone out the door, and the respect for a lot of these women has totally gone out the door as far as respecting the Most High. And you sent me something, man. It was just so disrespectful, and our people just did not reverence the Most High. They don't reverence His order at all. And guess what? We're going to be held accountable for that. There's going to be some kind of accountability held for that. It ain't going to be no little pat on the hand or anything like that. It's going to be some major judgment that's going to be coming down.
All right. Let me see here. All right. We got right here. It says, this is 1 Chronicles chapter 7. All right. 1 Chronicles chapter 7. We're going to start at verse 6, right? This is the descendants of Benjamin, right? Mm-hmm. This is our forefathers, this is our forefathers, right? 12 tribes of Israel, right? So it says the sons of Benjamin, right? Bela, Betcher, Jadiel, and 3 sons, right? I just wanted to show you that, these were the sons of Israel, right? And now they were the head of their houses, right? And it says, and the sons of Bela, Esben, Uziel, and Jeremoth, and Eri, and 5, right? 5 heads of the house of their fathers, mighty men of valor, right? So if you're going to be a head of the household, right, you're going to have to be a mighty man of valor, right? So let's look that up, right? Let's see what those words mean. You know, a man of valor, you have to be mighty, you know what I'm saying, to be a head of a household. Because in today, right, we have a lot of pansies, right? A lot of fruity boys, right, that have been you know, raised up by their mothers in their single mother homes, and they have forgotten the you know, the meaning of, you know, being mighty, masculine, right? It says part of right, the adjective, it says a masculine noun, right? A masculine noun, right? So let's see, right? A mighty man, you have to be strong, valiant, right? A champion, an upright man, right? Strong, mighty, a brave man, right? You know what a brave man does? I saw something the other day online, and it had this this dude was saying that, you know, he thought that he could you know, hey, if a burglar came in the house, you know, he's going to run. You know, he's not going to really sit there and hold down and protect his family, right? Is that a mighty man of valor, right? Is that a head of the household? You know, can you be a head of the household and be a coward, right? And be emotional, right? No, you can't, right? Let's continue to read on. Intensive is the same as powerful, right? By implication, you're a warrior, right? Because every man should know how to throw hands. You know, that's just what it is, right? You shouldn't be a coward. You should. Every man should know how to fight. You know, I mean, that's just what it is. Because there's gonna, you know, even if you don't run into a situation in your life, but that you have to protect someone you love, or, you know, something like that, it's still good. You know what I'm saying? For you to have that release and discipline there to be able to control your emotions.
Hey, brother, before you go on, I wanted to add to back up what you said about man knowing how to fight. Now, if you want to go to the scriptures and everything, you know, when you read Deuteronomy, Numbers and everything, when every man, when they turned a certain age, had to join the army. And of course, if you know that they joined the army, they learn how to fight. They learn how to defend. The only way that they were able to get out of that, unless they got married, they were new, and they spent a year with their spouse. And then after that, of course, then, you know, they were required to join the army. But every Israelite man, when he became of age, had to join the military, and he learned how to fight. So when Brother Aton said that every man should know how to throw hands back in the days, we had our kingdom. Yeah, you're right. Every man knew how to throw hands. They knew how to hold the sword because they were the protectors. All
right. Now we had you guys can read about the Sakari, not that phony fraudulent camp, but the real assassins of Israel, you know, that we had back in the days. But, you know, that's not you know, saying the way they killed were just a little bit different than, you know, the warrior type guys, right? But that's a different topic that we'll talk about some other time, right? But, you know, back to the you know, the point at hand. You know, if you're a head of the household, right, these things right here have to be your characteristics. You have to be a champion, right? You have to be a strong man, valiant, right? You have to be a you know, and then, you know, you are a tyrant over your household, as sad as it is, right? But if you're the head of the household, right, you are the one that's in charge for everybody else's protection, right? So you have to rule in a certain fashion that everyone under your household will be able to follow those particular rules and regulations to stay within a safe frame, so everybody will be protected, right? You know, you have to trust the leader, right? If you want to be if you want to be the head of the household, you have to be mighty, right? You know, and being mighty, that means that you have the strength to overcome all obstacles. You know, whether it's financial, emotional, you have to be that rock, right? Because just like HaMashiach is the head of the church, he's the cornerstone, right? He's the rock that we rely on. Because without the rock, without the cornerstone that builds the building, right, that all the weight is sitting on, we're not going to be able to survive. There's no way for us to get salvation without HaMashiach. So it's the same way the man has to be for the home if you're going to be the head of the household, all right? Let's go back up, right? Because there was another thing I wanted to bring. Valor, right? Valor is something else. Right? It's the same thing. Efficiency, right? You have to be efficient. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys, right? A lot of guys, they move in circles, right? They don't know which way is up, which way is down, because they don't have any direction. because they're not moving with efficiency, right? Look at this, the ability, right? A lot of men lack ability. You know why? Because they're in the house smoking weed, right? Playing the game all day, out there messing with harlots, not doing their due diligence and getting it in with the scriptures, understanding these commandments, and staying on your purpose to treat your brother like you want to be treated, right? So you can maintain that high status of being what? The head of the household, right? Because you have to have these abilities, you have to have the efficiency, right? It even says wealth here, right? Because you can't raise a family broke. Let's just face it. Even in the land of the heathen, right? You cannot raise a family broke. You have to get out and get it. Even if you got to work 2 jobs, somebody got to do it. You can't be lazy. You in the land of your oppressor. You wanted to say something?
That's so profound, y'all. And that's very important, because this is exactly what our enemy is trying to do. The opposite. He's trying. They are sadly trying to turn our men into little punks, so they can't provide themselves, and they got the women taking care of them instead of the man.
All right. Let me see. Right. So let's gonna go down. It says probably a force, whether of men, means, or resources. Salakia. Army, right? Wealth, virtue, right? These are all characteristics, right? Virtue, valor, strength, right? Able-minded, right? You have these are all what? All mental characteristics of men that do what? They keep the commandments, right? You have to have virtue to stay pure, to keep the God's commandments, Yahweh's commandments, in order to do what? To make sure that HaMashiach's blood was not spilled in vain. Right?
And on that note, when you look at this, like parable of a force, or the man means of other, army, virtue, valor, strength. Now, don't get it twisted, Zion. One thing I hate when women do is they always love to say that, well, I was with a good man, and all of a sudden he started beating me and all this kind of stuff. See, the problem with a lot of our women, you don't want a man, you don't want a just man to keep the commandments, because if they were beating on you or whatever, then they wouldn't truly keeping the commandments, or you was doing something, or they was doing something that caused that situation to happen. But a true just man is going to display those. Can you bring that up right quick? Bring that back up. I'm sorry.
Oh, you good, huh?
Yeah. So a true righteous brother who's keeping the commandments, who's truly keeping the commandments, is going to exercise these things. So don't get it twisted when you see this. That doesn't mean that, we're going to tell you to be quiet, woman. You can't talk. You don't got no say. A true brother is going to value and respect, their spouse's ideas and everything. But at the end of the day, guess what? The man is the final decision maker. And you have to accept that and be okay with that. There should be something where before spouses gets married, when I talk to young couples and everything, I like to go through a list of things, make sure that especially the woman completely understands her role and what she needs to accept and everything, and be okay with it. You got to be okay with this man being the final decision maker. Whether you think your ideas are better or not, you got to let him make that decision. And I get on a lot of people on that and everything. So a true man of the Most High is going to have a balance and everything. The reason why these women end up in crazy relationships and all that kind of stuff is because they're not choosing brothers who are keeping the commandments. But let's just be honest. When you do the stats, now ain't too many women that can tell me and sit there and say, "Oh, I chose a brother who truly kept the commandments." No, you didn't. Because if you did, you wouldn't be in a situation that you're in. So that's just fact. I'm just laying it out there. We got to call it like it is. Our people don't want to keep the commandments, and a lot of our women, they want these beta males so they can try to control them. That's the new world we see today. They don't want they don't want a brother Aton. They don't want a brother Ben. They want somebody who is beta, submissive, and that they can run over easily with their feelings.
Right. Yeah. You know what they don't want, Art? You see this right here? They don't want a man of substance.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want a man of substance. See, these are the characteristics, like I said before, for you to be head of the household, right? A man of substance, a man that's war worthy, right? You're not going to be able to run over a man that's war worthy, right? That's war worthy, right? You're not going to be able to run over a man of substance, right? A man that has something going for himself, a man that has a goal, right? You know what I mean? He has a vision.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then, you know, if he's taking you on into his life, right, the head of the household, right, you know, so he's making you a part of his vision. So don't disrespect that, you know, by coming in there with the foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And, you know, and that's interesting. You brought that up. You know, a man of substance, and that is very profound, and that's something that you know, we have a lot of, especially the men, because we're critical thinkers. We like to fix stuff, and you know, that's who we are naturally. It's just the nature of it. You know, when the Most High created us, He already had laid out everything for Adam. And He made Adam dominion over all the creatures of the earth, including the woman. And look, don't get mad at us because we're showing you this truth, and you know, we're showing you how it is. That's just the way it is. You know, our enemies have turned all this stuff around, and they have switched the roles like crazy, and our people fell for it. And that's why when you see people like us, you see brothers that are truly keeping the commandment with all their heart, mind, and soul and strength. You know, a lot of people can't deal with that because they feel like, well, they too opinionated, and you know, because we live in a world where so many of our brothers have been turned into betas, you know, and the women have taken on these manly spirits and everything. They feel like they can run over. Feel like they can run over their brothers. I got brothers today email me, and you know, I counsel a lot of the brothers too who are married, who woke up to this truth. And guess what? Why is the spouse driving them crazy? You know, trying to rule over, but you're not trying to rule over the brother. You know, and a lot of it has ended up in divorce. I won't lie to you, because the woman does not want to submit. They don't want to submit to these brothers that are keeping these commandments, and they want to do things their way. So the only way that they can deal with it, some of these women, is they throw a temper tantrum and they get a divorce, which they don't realize that they already set themselves up for destruction. You know, if you want to go against the Most High in His commandments, you know, that's on you. But if you want to live, obey His commandments, and obey the man that the Most High has put over you.
All right. I skipped down to the First Chronicles, right? Chapter 7, and now we're verse 11. Now, this is the sons of Jedidiel. Now, he's still a Benjamite. All right, these are still the sons of Benjamite, right? By the heads of their fathers, meaning the head of their houses, right? Of each of their houses, right? Mighty men of valor. There's that word again, right? Men of substance, you know, men with vision. Were 17,200 soldiers fit to go out for war and battle. Right now, even though this was a physical battle, right, and I believe that each and every one of us, you know, I'm almost 50, and Daniel's up there, you know what I'm saying? Daniel's older than brother. Daniel's older than me, right? But guess what? Hey man, we still work out, right? We still get it in, right? We still stay in the zone and stay healthy because guess what? We're not under the delusion that we're not in the land of our captivity, right? At any given point in time, right, a head of the household, right, a man of the Lord, you should be fit to go out for war and battle, right? Not only against the physical nature, right, of this world, of this earth, right, but also the spiritual nature, because just like we say, we're fighting with spirit, you know, shadows in dark places, right? You know what I'm saying? We have all types of wickedness hidden, you know what I'm saying, cloaked in shadows among us, people with unclean spirits. And all types of wickedness, right? And so we have to stay, you know, shielded with the armor of God, right? The sword of truth, which is what? These commandments. That right there will light your way as you cutting down the wicked.
You know, but I want to say something that you said something earlier. You were talking about always being ready because we're not in the land of our, we're in the land in our captivity. So you always have to be ready. You don't know, you know, and that's why it's always to be good to be physical fit and strong as a man, you know. And the scriptures prove that because in Genesis 14, Abraham was up in age. He had an army. He went and rescued Lot. He went and slew them jokers, boy, that captured his nephew and everything. So, you know, that's just one of the many examples that we as men and just men keeping the commandments, we need to be fit. I'm not saying you got to be a muscle bound, you got to be muscle bound and all that, but you want to be able to hold your own. If somebody rolls up on you, you get those hands, or whatever, have your sword. The modern day sword is a weapon because hey, things are getting crazy. You got to protect your family and everything. Because these yahoos, they're getting braver and braver because they're feared because they know they're getting ready to loot the kingdom.
Yeah, back in my day, man, it was a good scuffle, man, and that's all it'll take. For you to get it out your system, and then y'all be cool after that. Sometimes the boundaries must be set. Women complain about following all the time, but men follow the most, right? They follow their bosses when they go to work. They follow other men constantly, right? But a woman doesn't want to, follow one man. They only have one man to follow, while your man follows many men. Whether it be voluntarily or involuntarily, right? It's just the way of the world, just the way it works, right? Every single law these heathens make, we got to follow. Hey, man, you're following some man out there, right? And then you want to complain about someone that really truly has your, good self-interest at hand. As being head of the household, right? You also have to look at your woman and understand that, being how they're built, as we see from the beginning, from Eve, right? They thrive in chaos, right? So we have to come up with ways to keep them spiritually busy and to calm down their minds. It takes a lot being the head of the household. It's not easy. It's not an easy job for the brothers to do. But if you keep these laws, statutes, and commandments and continue to study, right, and actually read the precepts that Brother Daniel and I give you guys from the bottom of our hearts every Shabbat, right, and just follow it where the precepts take you, man, I'm telling you, you will be armed with this, with the spirit of the Most High. You'll be armed with the the spirit of righteousness to fight against wickedness, right? You won't have to struggle when it comes to leading. These things will automatically come to you.
Yep, and that's important. I mean, this constant rehearsal, and we live in a day, and this is why I love that verse in what is it? I think it's Hosea. No, it's Amos, where it says Elijah. In fact, let me go there. It's Amos, but anyway, it talks about where Elijah was going to come back in the last days, and he is going to raise up the men. He is going to turn the hearts back to the fathers. And notice that he's dealing with only the men, because why? The men are the head of the household. And when you look at Ezekiel 34 and 31, it says, "And ye, my flock, the flock of my pastures, are men, and I am your Elohim," says Adonai Yahweh. So the order is never going to go away, whether you like it or not. I don't know what's going to happen when the Bible says that they neither give in marriage or given in marriage, but they become like the angels. I don't know, and this is just me just saying this. I don't know if Most High is just going to eliminate all the women, that's like a Magneto. I don't know, but I think that it's going to get to a point when we get to the kingdom, we all get our spiritual bodies. We're not going to have no need. We're going to be living forever. So there's not going to be no need to procreate. But again, that's something that's way beyond our thoughts and everything. But I do know that the scriptures are very clear about the order of the men, and that's never going away.
John.
Never. Right? And let's get I'm gonna get one more here. That's precept to one I just read. It's in Proverbs. Go ahead and turn to Proverbs 8 and 4.
Okay. Now, just to expound on that, what Brother Daniel was saying. He wasn't saying, just to expound on that. When we get our, as the scriptures, right? Let's say, as our spiritual bodies are concerned, they're going to be perfect, right? Absolutely perfect. They're not going to be, we're not going to have any lust of the flesh, right? Exactly. or anything of that nature. So, seeing that it is May, and we're going to have the set number of people that are going to be in the kingdom, we don't think that, based on the scriptures and just how it would be and how the angels are, because we see that there's no, all the angels are males, that we think that you know, our spiritual bodies are not going to be the same as it is on earth. Let's say, for example, we see that Eve, that Adam, he was made, but he wasn't made perfect, or he wouldn't have needed Eve, right, to keep him company. So I think it's going to be just a combination of both that'll pretty much you know, add to one's perfection in those days. You know what I'm saying? As long as we're you know, all in the kingdom. Right, so our spiritual bodies, it will definitely not be as they are now, right? As like male and female or anything like that. They'll just be, you know, all male, like as everything else is in the heavens.
Yeah, and it says Proverbs 8, verse 4 says, "Unto you, O men, I call. My voice is to the sons of men." You see, and this is why I know that when the Most High talks, when the Scripture talks about things like this, and it talks about the order, it's going to get to a point, like Brother was saying, you know, if there's no need to procreate and get our spiritual bodies, and all the angels are males, then you know, go figure. And then when you look at the very beginning, what was the purpose of creating Eve? Well, the Bible says that it's not good for man to be alone, and also to procreate and to fill the earth. So the main purpose for the woman was to incubate the seed, so that that man's seed could populate the earth. And I hate it when women say, "Well, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the woman." No, you wouldn't be here if it was for the man, because you came from man, you came from the rib. So how can you say that we wouldn't be here if it was for the woman? You know what I'm saying?
As a matter of fact, it says that
because who was created first? Was it woman or a man?
Right, the man. All that.
Was Eve created in the same manner as Adam? Absolutely not. Was Eve created on the same day as Adam? Absolutely not. She was a lesser vessel. Now, this is not putting down the woman at all. I don't want y'all to think that we're just trying to put down the woman. No, this is not what we're doing. We're telling you the truth. We're telling you the order. We're telling you that there is no equality in the creation of man and woman. If the Most High wanted to make woman and whatever equal to Adam and everything, he would have done so. But that wasn't the case. So you really got to think logical when you think when I hear women say certain things, you know, like, you know, oh, if it wasn't for the woman, the man wouldn't be here, you know, we wouldn't be, you know, that wouldn't be born and things like that. You gotta be careful when you say stuff like that, because the Most High could have easily populated the earth without
no, the woman is not getting thrown away. You'll just be getting an upgraded spiritual body. I don't want that. That's not the message that we're sending. That's absolutely not the message that we're sending. We're saying that, you know, as a matter of fact, the spirit, you know, it speaks that, you know, the wonders that the Most High is going to do for us, the ones that are saved, you know, are beyond our imagination, right? It says, you know, so there will be no marriage or given in marriage, right? But all of our, you know, but we're going to be as the angels in heaven. As a matter of fact, hey, go ahead, brother, and let me get that so I can show that scripture to them. So they
go ahead. Yeah, let's put that right quick.
All right. Oops.
So Matthew 24, 36.
I'm gonna get Mark 12.
And we can read from both sides. We want y'all to see that and everything. All right.
Oh, Matthew 22. All right. Okay. While he's figuring that out, while he's pulling that up, it says, right. So this was a question that was asked to HaMashiach dealing with because they were trying to trap him off, right? They were trying to trap him off by talking about okay, I'll just read it, right? It says, Master, right? He's talking to HaMashiach, right? Moses wrote unto us, if a man's brother die and leave his wife behind and leave no children, that his brother should take his wife and raise up seed unto his brother, right? Because the law was, right, like let's say if I died, right, and I got a brother, right, and I made no children, that my wife would go to my brother, right, and then my brother would have he would have the duty to either raise children in my name, or he could turn it down. But then if you turn it down, like the elders would like spit on him, and then like but hey, but that's like another law that's in there. But most of the time they would do it, right? They would take their brother's wives, right, and they would raise up seed for him, like, and give him, give his brothers a name so his seed doesn't die out, so his name doesn't die out. Okay, so that's what this is referring to. However, it says, now there were 7 brethren. The first took a wife and died, and left no seed, and the second took her and died. Neither left he any seed, and the third likewise. And the 7 had her and left no seed. Last of all, the woman died also, right? In the resurrection, therefore, when they shall rise, whose wife shall she be of them, of the 7 that had her to wife, right? So they were saying that, we understand that, once you lay with a woman, right, that woman is your wife, right? So they were trying to trick HaMashiach with one woman, trying to say, well, then, if she laid with 7 dudes, which wife is she, when she gets to the kingdom, right? So here's was HaMashiach's answer. He said, do ye not therefore err, because ye know not the scriptures, neither the power of God, right? The power of YAHUAH, the Father, the Almighty, the Ancient of Days, right? But when they shall rise from the dead, they neither marry nor given in marriage, but are as the angels which are in heaven. All right. Now, if you look back into the scriptures, right, I challenge each and every one of you to find a female angel, and there are none. Right. All the angels are male. So I would say that, when when your time comes to rise, all your, the spiritual bodies are all going to be the same that are in the kingdom, which are male, right? And so that's where we're getting that, that's where we're getting that hypothesis from. Now, we're not saying that it's true, so we're not saying that it's absolutely 1000%, but based on the scriptures, we can come to a reasonable understanding that, that's pretty much what it's alluding to. Like I'm saying, if all the members in the kingdom are already chosen, because there are a set number of people that are get chosen, right? What is the use for mammary glands or anything of that nature, or a eggs in the womb, or any of that cycle, that the way that a woman's body is built, right? The same thing for a man. I'm pretty sure that our bodies are going to get changed as well. Whatever the males appear to be, in the kingdom. So that's not saying that you have to have, you know what I'm saying, you don't have to have the regular private parts of the male today, because what, we're not going to have any kind of lusting or anything of that nature in the kingdom. Everything is already set. Okay, so I don't want you women to thinking that on the mind of the brotherhood, we're saying that the women are all going to die. It doesn't matter.
No.
Keep the commandments. No.
And this is why we're showing you the scriptures. In Matthew 22 says the same thing. But I'll just read this last part. It says, for in the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of heaven. Now I want to pull up this question the sister asked, because it was a good question. And it says, so the woman get thrown away. So that's really not the right question to ask. The question that you want to really ask is, what is the will of the Most High for His people? Because we have to accept that. Because on this physical earth that we live on, we procreate, right? We procreate on this physical earth. But in the spiritual, on the spiritual earth, or not spiritual, but when we get our spiritual bodies, if there's not a need to procreate, then there's going to be some things that's going to change. There's going to be some things that are not the same, right? And this is why we stress this. We stress this. Why is the order and the role of the woman so important? Why is the role of the man so important on this earth? It's because we were supposed to procreate, and we were supposed to be a perfect people. But what happened? We were sabotaged. So now what's happening is that a lot of our people, like it says in Job, it says that a lot of our people are being born for the sword now. And yes, women are still having babies like crazy. So, somebody may say, well, then why is the Most High allowing women to continue to have babies? And then you got to understand, and it also says in what was it? It was Second Esdras, think it's 9, where it talks about that many are born in vain, and it's a sad reality, y'all. And I'm just going to break it down to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to try to pat you on the back and make you feel good. It is what it is. And the Most High, whatever He says, if the Most High says it ain't gonna be no more women, it ain't gonna be no more women. That's just plain and simple as that. You know, if the Most High says something else, then it's gonna be that. And you know, we are created beings. You know, we didn't create the Most High. The Most High created us. He could do anything He pleased to do. Am I right or wrong?
God.
And so if you know, however, you know, and I don't want to get too far off this and everything, but this was something good to discuss, I think. You know, and you know, sometimes we don't understand the wisdom of the Most High, but as of right now, we were put on this earth to procreate, plain and simple.
You don't understand why? What?
It's the Most High. It's commandments, but that got sabotaged. And look at us now. You know, you got women and all kinds of stuff twerking and shaking their asses and bragging about having 7 dudes, having like 10 babies by 7 different dudes. Yeah, we were bragging about that mess. I mean, how do you think the Most High is looking down on His people right now with all that stuff going on?
God.
Just saying.
You know, just, you know, not being let's just keep it 100. Let's say, you know, like everything's got to return back to normal in the beginning. You know, from the beginning, we see that let's just keep it. You know, what the scriptures say is Eve was created just to keep Adam company, right? That was it, to be his helpmeet, right? It said that at first Adam was there by himself. You know, the Most High had created it all, and you know, He created Adam, and Adam was running around by himself, and then the Lord looked down, and He was like, you know what, you know, I don't want Adam to be alone, so you know, let me make him somebody. You know, like, you know, my thing was that you know, me just questioning. I'm like, you know, what, you know, how would Adam have made children, you know, or you know, made more children if the Most High didn't make Eve? You know what I mean? I mean, like, what was, you know, could He have done that? Yeah. I mean, like, we don't know. You know, like, we don't know. We know that when HaMashiach took the rib from you know, from Adam and crafted Eve from that rib, that, you know, that she was a helpmeet, that He gave her some of the responsibilities, right? Gave her some of the burdens that Adam would have. You have to realize that, right? You know what I'm saying? The whole thing is the man and the woman put together. Like, that's the absolute whole. But the HaMashiach, He took part of the rib, right? and then crafted a woman for Adam. You know, that is the only being in the scriptures, or the only creature on the earth that came from directly from another being, right? So it's you know, to be out there and then just to wild out and to just sleep with her brother and have a baby and not want to submit behind that when you're literally came from man is just the epitome of folly and wickedness. Yeah. You know, so on a grand scale.
And just backtracking what you're saying about Eve being created from the rib and being a helpmate. So technically, Eve was the first servant. Now I'm gonna ask you a question, y'all. I'm gonna ask you a question, and you can answer this
in righteousness
if you want to. So, look, who was dominion given to? Was it given to Adam, or was dominion given to Eve?
You know, that's a good thing, because I'm about to go over that. That's a good one.
Which one was it? Because you got to understand, who was the dominion given to? Now, we already know the answer to that. We already know that the scripture gave dominion, the Most High gave dominion to the man.
Right.
So that means, you know what, as a matter of fact, anyone, if you could, okay, think of some scriptures. If anyone, y'all, in this chat box right now can pull some scriptures that prove that the Most High at some point gave dominion to the woman, I want you to put that scriptures in the chat box.
And that goes back to being the head of the household, right? If you're Adam, right? Because every man is supposed to be, you know, we all came from Adam, right? You're the head of the household, right? You're the head of your household, and then how are you? And then if you're supposed to do what? Just like we went over in 1 Chronicles 7, that what? that you're supposed to be valiant, right? You're supposed to be mighty. You're supposed to be a man of valor, all right? You're supposed to be a man of substance, a man that can't be overcome or run by any wickedness or a woman for that matter, right? You're not supposed to be run by any of that, because you're supposed to be holding everything on the top guard in righteousness, right?
Hey, I wanted to address something, because this is kind of in line and what we're dealing with right now, and that's good. I'm glad you're bringing this out. It says everything is out of order because the so-called black man in America, Babylon, still refuses to come back to the Most High. That is true to a certain extent, but you got to also realize, where did all this stuff start from? So when we talked about in our previous videos, I don't know if you've heard us speak before on this and everything, but in our previous lessons, you know, we showed you that how the liberation movement changed a lot of things. We showed you how the welfare changed a lot of things. This wasn't the black man's choice, all right? This stuff was forced on him. He was forced out the home. He was forced, and the enemy used our women as war subjects, as weapons against the black man. Now we can go here all night and we can pull up stats and show you facts that is the case. So you gotta be very careful. So when we say that the so-called black man in America still refuses to come back to the Most High, there's a lot of moving pieces behind this, and the reason why is that way. So
right.
You know, this wasn't meant. See, the war is against the men, not the women. The war has always been against the men, and so to a certain extent, you're right, because the man is the head of the household, but the man has to take the order back. But see, here's a caveat to that: the women are going to have to submit.
But you know, we have a lot of you know, we got a lot of noodleback brothers, right? And this lesson is you know, basically on the head of the household, right? And then, you know, what we got to do to get things back in order, whether they want to you know, saying you know, get down or not, you know, saying things got to know. Because let's say I'm going to Micah chapter 3, right? I'm gonna get it from the scriptures. Like, you know, these are what, you know, I'm saying, the men of Israel today, they've committed the same you know, egregious crimes that we have done in the past. And it says, and I said, here I pray you, O heads of Jacob, right? That's your brothers out there, you heads of the household, because we're gonna have to get back to being men, right? Get back to being mighty men of the Most High.
That's right.
And ye priests of the house of Israel, is it not for you to know judgment, right? Because you know that, you know, your wickedness cannot stand, and you know the judgment of the law. Who hate the good and love the evil, right? Because these are our men right now. Pluck off their skin from off them, and from their flesh and off their bones, who also eat the flesh of my people and flay their skin from off of them, and they break their bones and chop them in pieces as for the pot and as flesh within the cauldron, right? That's what, you know what I'm saying, that's what we do today, gang banging, you know what I'm saying, killing ourselves, because we really can't complain, you know, to the heathen about, you know, injustice, you know, when we really out there killing ourselves. You got these wicked ass niggas out there, you know what I'm saying, shooting their other brothers because what, right? They want to chop them in pieces for the pot as flesh within the cauldron. And then, you know, when the police get on them, right, and beat them for the wickedness, and then, you know, doing all that stuff, then they want to what? Then they shall cry out unto the Lord, but he will not hear them. For he will even hide his face from them at that time, as they have behaved themselves in their ill doings, right? And that's the same thing that we got going on today, right? If these brothers out there, these noodle back, you know, wing neck brothers out here don't stop the wickedness, right? We're just going to continue. The Lord is not going to hear us, right? The Lord is going to continue to let the women buck up and to continue to be wicked, right? You know what I'm saying? Because we got to come back to the Most High, right? Now, let's scoot down to Micah chapter 3, verse 9, right? Because I wanted to read the rest of this. It says, hear this, right? Hear this, I pray you, ye heads of the house of Jacob and princes of the house of Israel, that abhor judgment and pervert all equity, right? That's what a lot of the brothers doing out there. What are they doing? They don't like the judgment.
Nope.
Right? We got homosexuals, we got trannies, right? We got all kind of wickedness now going on. man, I've never seen the amount of craziness and weakness that we have in our community. Now, man, we used to do what? We used to be what? You know, the strong survive, the survival of the fittest, right? The strongest brothers, right? With the strongest ideas of righteousness, right? Man, look at the people that we used to look up to. We had, I'm not saying like Martin Luther King was the greatest, right? But he stood for he stood for some righteousness sometimes, right? He was doing this thing. We had Malcolm X, right? We got all of these folks that we have in the past that their focus was on the betterment of the community, right? The betterment of the Israelite community. Even though they weren't perfect and they made mistakes, they strove for the betterment of our community, right? They weren't in the back, of the houses making deals, with the heathens because they wanted to secretly to destroy our people, right? It says, "Hear this, I pray you, ye heads of the house of Jacob," right? That's all you brothers, you princes of the house of Israel that abhor judgment and pervert all equity. They build up Zion with blood and Jerusalem with iniquity. That's sin, right? The heads thereof judge for reward, and the priests thereof teach for hire, right? You got them wicked ass camps out there with their begging buckets, right? And their Cash App internet links on the line. Hey, give us $1. Hey, we'll teach you some scriptures and we'll teach you a breakdown for $39.99. Come on, man. Really? So that's wicked as hell out there. How you going to be a head of the household, right? And and now we're not talking about just the regular head of the household while you out here in these out here in these streets, any kind of secular nonsense, right? To be a head of the household, a true head of the household, right? You have to keep the commandments. That's what it's talking about, right? You have to treat your brother like you want to be treated. Would you want your brother in front of your face begging you for money when you're trying to teach the scriptures? Like as soon as your little jingle come on to announce your camp video, you got Cash App, Israelite.com, you know what I'm saying, or whatever they have up there. Man, that's wicked as hell, right? They wanna try to boost you up with money and filthy lucre, right? It says the heads judge for reward, right? And the priests thereof
found the way of the masters.
come on. And the prophets thereof divine for money. Yet will they lean upon the Lord and say, "It is not the Lord, is not the Lord among us? None evil can come upon us," right? So they say that for example, we got camps out here, right? They got camps out here that are big, right? They say they are head of their household. But no, man, you're more like head of the household of Satan, right? Because you saying that we have a big congregation, and the Lord has blessed us, right? That no evil can come upon us, right? Because we get all of this reward that they believe is from the Lord. But the scriptures say that what? Wide is the gate that leads to destruction, right? So wide is the gate that leads to destruction. Should you ever follow a path where there's many people going therein? Hell no. You have to look at that with a skeptical eye, right? You have to really be on point on things like that, because you know that what? They're trying to suck you in. If it's too easy, right? If it's too easy and they're preaching some stuff that just don't go down right, 9 times out of 10 it's wickedness, right? It says, "Therefore shall Zion for your sake be plowed as a field," right? Because what the heads of the household, that's us, right? We're not doing, all of us brothers are not stepping up. So what? We're being plowed as a field, right? "And Jerusalem shall become as a heap, and the mountain of the house of the high places of the forest," right? So man, we're just getting destroyed all around. We're getting destroyed all around because what? The men are not in order, right? We got the dude out there getting his neck nailed on and choked out, but he was about to marry a heathen albino woman. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Man, you see how Satan jumped up behind that, created an organization called BLM that was headed up by 3 lesbian women? Wickedness. The scriptures speak about this constantly, and it's right before our face, and we just can't see it. I would be scared as a people to wake up. I don't hardly even go out. I just stay in the scriptures, read, right? To stay, to make sure that my sword is sharp, right? that if an axe falls out the sky at any time, then I'm ready to chop off the heads of the wicked. Every single one of you should be out there like that. Study the scriptures. You should have a zealous mind to be a head of the household, to have some woman looking at you, you know what I'm saying, in awe and reverence, as being, yo, this brother is righteous. He has a path. If I can get behind him, right, I have a future where I can get the kingdom. I can go through the 12 gates of Israel and live forever. Which one of you brothers really want to be the head of the household out here? Right? It's a lot. It's not just a little bit. The scriptures don't play.
No, that is heavy, and this is why, you know, as the men, and this is why the war is so heavy against these brothers. But here's the thing, brothers, especially those of you who are waking up and you're keeping the commandments with all your heart, mind, and strength, you know. And I know a lot of your spouses are giving our brothers hell because they keep the commandments. And, you know, they say that, hey, the women always like to say that, well, if the men start keeping the commandments, we will follow. You know, but you got to understand that the wickedness is so deep, the agenda has been so brainwashed into our people, where it's damn nearly it's going to take some serious destruction. That's going to happen, and that's why I like when I read in Malachi 4 and 5, where it says, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahuah, and he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse." And why is he focusing on the male? Because the men are the head of the household. And the only way that we're going to get this authority back is that the Most High is going to have to unplug all this wickedness and put his men back. And that's why it's going to be a lot of purging. And but for the time being, with these brothers, what brothers as men we can do right now is show an example. And you know, not all men are going to be able to do this. You know, because so many of them have been turned into punks. Some of them have been emasculated to the point of no return. But for those brothers who are strong, you know, like me and Brother Aton and many other brothers out there, you know, they're going to have to hold the fort. And hold their ground. And hopefully we can pull other brothers up and get them to see what's going on. Because first we have to get them to see the tactics of the enemy. You know, if our brothers don't see the tactics of the enemy, then they're going to be blindsided every time. You got to understand how these folks work and how the devil works. You know, and you got to understand the war tactics that are against the men, so that you can maneuver around that and have the wisdom to be able to overcome that. So that you can be the head of the household and raise your family and be the protector. You know?
Right.
And again, I'm still waiting if anybody found any scriptures to prove to me prove to us that the Most High gave at some point, at any point, gave the woman dominion. I want to see it. Because even the priest, show me one woman priest in the scriptures. Show me any woman that made an offering for anyone. It was always the men. And so that is the order. And I know we go back and forth back then, but back then, you know things were, the whole world, you know, of course, understood that concept. Even in the other nations, you know, their women were subjects, and were subject of possessions. So they knew. So it wasn't until we got over here until these damn heathens started tampering everything and going against the Most High, and everything that was in order, they turned around and turned it against us.
Well,
so yeah. So and like Brother said, you know, a lot of people, you know, going to have to be destroyed, and the Most High is going to allow our people to continue to bleed out until He has a remnant. That's
got to happen. Yep. You know, that's just that right there. That's just really got to happen. I'll skip down to the Revelation, right? The 2 and the 20, right? Because you know we don't want to be no sucker like Ahab, right? Mm-hmm. You know, if you're not, you know, Ahab is a fine example, right, of a man that wasn't right ahead of his household, right? His woman ruled him. It said, notwithstanding, right, verse 20, notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophet, right? So she was making up names. She wasn't no real prophet. Like we got a lot of these, false prophets, these sisters out here on these Christians channels and all kind of mob madness, calling themselves a prophetess and all kind of folly, right?
You know what's so dangerous? You know what's so dangerous about that? It's because women are very articulate in their feelings. That's how they operate. They don't not operate from the brain. They operate. That's the way the Most High made the woman. I don't care. That's scientifically proven facts. A woman does not operate logically. A woman operates out of her feelings. That's why she's the biggest manipulator of feelings. So when you get a woman that's trying to teach the scriptures and break it down, oh, hell's gonna break it. That's why we got so many crazy ass doctrines now.
It said that she was doing what? The same thing that Brother Daniel just said, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols, right? And that's what, that's everything against the Most High and what he taught. That's the same thing like Eve in the beginning, right? That's the same trait. We all the way, in Revelation and HaMashiach still talking about it. You see how much he aggravated the Lord? I mean, this is all the way in Revelations, right? The last book of the scriptures, and she done aggravated HaMashiach so bad that he still got it on his mind. Hey, man, this woman around here teaching wickedness because this brother was not the head of his household. Let his woman rule over him, and taught all this kind of wickedness, right? So let's bring the Second Chronicles, and we'll see there's mentions of Ahab and his simpism, throughout the whole scriptures, right? Let's go. Let's start at 3 right here, right? Slock it. Boom, right? Here it is again, all right? It says he walked. Let's start right here. Boom, right? And let's see what happened. Let's see what the Lord did. He don't play no games. So Slock it. Let me undo this one. Oh, you got anything you want to add before I continue on?
No, go ahead, bro.
All right, come on, right? So it says he also walked in the ways of the house of Ahab. Now, what were the ways of his house of Ahab? For his mother was his counselor to do wickedly. What was he doing? He was listening to a woman. That's the ways of Ahab. That's the ways of Ahab. You don't listen to women. Wherefore he did evil in the sight of the Lord, like the house of Ahab, because he was listening to the wicked ass Jezebel, for they were his counselors after the death of his father to his what? What happens when you listen to women? To his destruction. You get destroyed.
So, brother, before you go, brothers, the men, I'm telling you, when you move in with these broads or these women,
no, you better not move in.
What's that?
I said you better not move in. She better move in with you.
Look, when you brothers move in with these broads and everything, guess what? The same right here, you're gonna end up following that woman. You're under her roof. She can kick you out anytime she feels and gets ready to. When she feels like you ain't bringing it or whatever, I see this so many times. I've talked with so many brothers that are like, look, you need to get on. I don't care if you got to get a tent somewhere. You don't want to be living up with no woman you ain't married to. And then they got kids too. And then they got different kids, like different daddies. You sitting up there living with them because our brothers was raised up. A lot of our men were raised up by women, so they used to women taking care of them all their lives.
Let me say something to this right here, right? Let me say something to this effect. I know this is comment, right? And see, like this is I do understand this, right? And this is wicked as hell, right? But right, if you're a sister and you're in an environment, right, other than work, where you have lustful brothers, right, lascivious niggas around you, right? You in the wrong spot. Why are you over there? The scriptures, speak a number of times, repeatedly. It tells you to keep wickedness out of your sight. You're not supposed to hang around wicked people, right? So we always, like for you sisters, right? You have to keep your eyes focused on places of righteousness, right? You can't expect to go to the club and find a husband, right? You can't expect to go on Instagram and find you a husband. That's not going to work, brothers. You can't be out here, flexing muscles, on Instagram and think that you're going to find you a wife worth a damn, right? You know what I'm saying? You want to, you know what I'm saying? You want a page or whatever that, you know, you got scriptures and it shows you studying the law and keeping the commandments and having fun at the feast days, right? And then if a sister sees something like that, she'll be, oh, this brother, you know, hey, he's in the right direction because he's keeping the commandments, right? In this new day and age of dating and whatnot, right? You shouldn't be looking at no kind of wickedness and thinking that that's going to be a good match for you, because you know what that is? That's just Satan roaming up and through, you know, through the earth, right? Looking for somebody that he can devour. And he's always preying on the weak. You best believe it. That's just like when you see the lions, right? When they go on hunting, they always going to get the stragglers, the ones that can't keep up. Are you going to be one of those ones that can't keep up because you dabbling in wickedness? That's how it goes, right? You don't want to be like, and you brothers out there, you don't want to have no woman leading you around by the nose.
Oh.
Because just like the house of the fathers of Ahab, you're going to get destroyed. It says that just spells out nothing but death and destruction for you, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Art.
Yep. Hey, I need to
Khan.
Is this how do you pronounce that name? Phenom 50?
Yeah, Khan.
Are you a woman or brother?
Khan. That's more like
I don't know if he was a brother or not.
oh, because the New York Giants logo. Khan.
I'm assuming it's a brother, so I'm just going to assume that it's a brother. But yeah, man, this thing is going to get real, and we're going to see, and we're seeing the end result of okay, brother, okay, cool,
Khan.
good stuff.
Oh, Khan.
Yeah, but man, we're going to see a lot of stuff that's going to take place. A lot of our people, unfortunately, are going to have to bleed out, and in order for this mess to clear up, because we've gotten to a point to so far, man. Like me and brother A-Time, we talk all the time, and man, just some of the stuff that I see, it's just, my mind is just blown. I'm like flabbergasted because of the amount of disrespect that is with our people. You know, the women and the brothers. The women as far as against their men, and the brothers, you know, bending down, you know, bowing down to women. Come on, man, you're a grown ass man, and you let a woman scare you. Any man that lets a woman, I don't care what profession she is, what she claims, how much money she claims to make, you know, if any man allows any woman to intimidate him, that's a weak brother. That is a weak brother. And we have to really just question that, you know, and go back. But these heathens have done a terrible job, you know, horrific job on our people. And so, you know, when we get on the men about moving in the house with these women, you sitting up there with their kids with different daddies, you got all those spirits in the house. How do you think that's going to turn out? That situation is never going to be a good situation. Never.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But well, to go back on, you know, if you want to be a head of the household, like we said, the heads of the houses of Jacob, right? As we saw, you know, we had all these different traits, right, of masculinity, right? Because, you know, that's what it takes to be the head of the household. We can't be like Samson, right? You know what I'm saying? Samson, even though he was, you know, that's an example of a brother that, you know, simping ended up costing him his blessing, right? You know, he wasn't the head of his household, right? And that was a lesson. That was a lesson in the things that he went through. Now, if y'all want to go back and, you know, some of our early videos, right, we broke down Samson, like the whole, you know, the whole precepts of him. But if you remember, right, he ended up giving his glory over to a heathen woman. You know, not even a woman of Israel, right? But that's what happens when you go out and, you know, you chase, you know what I'm saying? You chase stuff that you know, that you're not supposed to have, right? Man, we know in the scriptures what it says about messing with strange women, right? A strange woman is what? A narrow pit, right? And a whore is a deep ditch, right? So like, you know, what's that mean? Right. So if you're trying to be a head of the household, right, how can you be trapped in a narrow pit or a deep ditch? So when it comes times to choose, right, to choose, who's going to carry your legacy, what woman is going to carry the bloodline of Israel into the future, right? You brothers got to make very, very wise choices, right? We can't be out here, looking at BBLs and thinking, oh yeah, let me go ahead and do that, or these women with these, all kinds of extra features, wigs and weaves and tons of makeup and long ass eyelashes and these raptor claw, fingernails. I mean, like, we want, a righteous woman is not going to be doing all that. You know what I'm saying? Low cut, halter tops, skin tight apparel and wearing leggings every damn wear. You know what I'm saying? Man, that's wicked as hell, right? If you're a brother and you can't get, sucked in by lustful spirits, right? Or spirits of lasciviousness, right? You gotta keep it in. You gotta be disciplined, right? That's why it pays to stay in the scriptures, right? When me and Brother Daniel talk all the time, right? Man, we don't never talk about, women or any kind of lustful, things, because that's not profitable to the soul. What's that going to do, right? That's not going to help my brother one bit if I'm doing some wickedness like that, right? So that's not going to strengthen my brother one bit, right? Right? It says, 3, what is it? 2 is better than 1, right? And 3 is a cord, hardly broken, right? So, you got to align yourself with like-minded people. If you're a brother, right, you can't be around these niggas out here that's talking about, man, they trying to go to the club and have sex with everything walking, right? You can't be around that brother that likes to lust over heathen women, right? Because guess what? In this world, wickedness is stronger than righteousness, right? So that's why the gift is given to those that can maintain righteousness, right? Because that's a greater thing to do. That's what it takes to be a head of the household. You have to be able to have that strength within yourself in the spirit and rely on the spirit and have faith in HaMashiach that you can overcome these unclean spirits and remain beyond reproach. Go ahead, Ak. You wanted to get something?
Yeah, and just adding on what you're saying, man. That's just straight up fact, And this place that we're living in, this physical, and it's gonna get worse and worse. I want to read something from Ecclesiastes 7 and verse 28, and it says, let's see, I'll start with verse 28, and it says, "Which yet my soul seeks, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found." Now that's the great words of Solomon, but this applies also, to the future as well. Because when you look at the choices that these brothers have and everything, it's almost generally slim to none. And I always like to say this though, especially you young brothers coming up and you wanted to find a soulmate for you. And you're serious, you keeping these laws, commandments with all your heart, mind, and soul and everything. And you're trying to find a virgin. So that's damn nearly almost impossible these days. Especially, I would say that in America, because by the time a woman turns 18, I would say 17, but I'm just using 18 because I'm being generous. By the time a woman turns 18, a young lady, she's already had about 50, close to 40 to 50 suitors. So that means that a body count of 40 to 50 body counts already. In other words, you want to keep it real. I had about 40 or 50 dicks that I'm passed through already. That's sad. And because this place has been conditioned like that so bad now. You look at the media, you look at the rap game, you look at everything. Everything that we've ever done has been sabotaged with our people. So a lot of these brothers are having to go outside the country. It's sad, it's just sad. I wish it wasn't that way, but it's just the way it was. Back in the day, every brother got a virgin. Every brother, because the way, when we talk about men being the head of the household, guess what? The men protected their family. They made sure that their daughters were groomed and raised, and they knew that they were going to be given to a man, a righteous man who kept laws. And guess what? That man that they would be given to was going to take care of their daughter, and guess what? The process was going to repeat itself. But the heathens planted this virus in our people, where we repeat the curses constantly all the time. And you hear the term hood rats and stuff like that. You hear, you know, there's been several studies, but black women are the only race of women that have the highest number of babies by different dudes, and not even married.
God, that's
That
why the
is,
numbers seem skewed. Right?
that's why it's so mind blowing. These other races, you know, it's very low in their numbers to see a white woman or an Asian woman or any kind of other race of woman with 3 different kids by 3 kids with 3 different daddies. Rarely ever going to see that in those kind of communities. You only see it with us. Why is that? Why is that we're the only ones that's doing this?
Well, you know, I see too.
Well, why is it that we got to be the worst? Why is it that we got to be the most blatant and the most wicked amongst all the other races?
I don't know.
It's like
I do see
strive to outdo these other nations.
I do see that you know, among the wickedness that our people are that our people portray in, you know, that our people portray and our people participate in on a constant basis, that we know that you know, they're having you know, they're having babies and they're having sex with the same small amount of men, right? You know, because we have 54% of the African American, well, you know, the Israelite community is childless, right? The 54% of men are childless and without babies, right? So that's not the same thing to say that we have 73% of the women that are out there, you know, that are having babies outside of wedlock, right? So that's a sad thing that, you know, it's like, where is the common sense at, right? If you know this dude got a baby already, you know, say with some other woman, he's barely taking care of it, you know, a Pookie or Ray Ray, right? Why are you going to lay with that man and think anything else is going to change for you, right? It just doesn't, you know, it just doesn't make sense. Or maybe like, you know, what if you have, you know, so these dudes out here like Nick Cannon and stuff. I'm not saying, you know, like what it'll be different if what he was doing if he was marrying these women, right? If he had, you know, 12 wives and they were all Israelites, because we see he got some mixed in with heathens, right? Which he's going to have to be judged harshly on, you know what I'm saying? You know, 9 times out of 10, you know, if he don't repent any kind of way, he ain't making it anyways, right? So, you know, so we look at folks like that, and then we look at the women that continue to sleep with the dude. You be like, man, are you stupid? You know what I'm saying? This dude already had 12 children already, right? You know what I'm saying? Why are you going to just, you know, he ain't married, not one of them. You know, not one of them have a commitment, right? Don't have no rings. They're not married. They just, you know what I'm saying, having babies with some wild dick nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, when I look at it, you know, I'm like, man, what the, you know what I'm saying, what the hell is going on with our, you know, with our community? You know, I mean, like, where's the common sense? And I think it's because, you know, we have babies having babies, and then we lack elders, right? We lack elders. And then like the elders that we do have, they're so caught up in reeling from, you know, all the feminism that was pushed on them, you know, we really can't get any true knowledge out of them, right? So we just leave it down for the very few of us that are left that have been keeping the commandments, and luckily got raised in some type of home that was, you know, that had a equal foot, you know, so some kind of traditional values that we can continue to, you know, not be skewed. Now, there's other brothers and sisters out there too that are very educated. You know, they studied the laws, statutes, and commandments too, and have not been dumbed down and skewed, and you know what I'm saying, and skewed by the vast majority, you know what I'm saying, like the vast majority have, right? It's just, I don't know, it's just you know, it's just crazy out here now. You know what I mean? Not?
Yeah. And that's why we go hard to paint with this and everything. And you see the times we live in there, and somebody made a comment, and what was it? A single black woman and girls having children out of wedlock has been the norm for years, and you're right, you know. And I remember, well, you know, old as I am, growing up, it was prevalent when I was growing up, but it wasn't as bad as it is now. It's like 1,000 times worse now. And you know, you look when I say everything was sabotage, I'm gonna give you an example. You look when the hip hop era started, you know, back in the 70s with Grandmaster, Melly Mel, and all them, you know, they were, you know, it was a whole different era back then. They wasn't doing all this gangster rap. You wouldn't see damn Kazars came in and they started changing the game and everything, fixing it where, you know, turning out people against one another. But the point that I want to make though is that the whole stigma with this whole rap game, this whole hip hop game, every single rapper will brag how many women they done plucked and everything, and how many babies they got and stuff. And then these women will brag like how many children they done got by these different men and stuff. You know, it's a sad. Where in the scriptures, where in the Torah, did you ever see anything like this happening? You didn't see stuff like this back then. You didn't see women out having babies like this by different men. The only time you saw something like that, if he was close to it, is if the husband had died and she was a widow and she was able to remarry. That was the only way, but that was the only time they did that. But they knew. They knew the value. That's why, you know, growing up, I know a lot of you have experienced where your grandmothers told you, you know, hey, do not get pregnant until you marry. You know, we know we had these talks with our grandmothers and our granddad, but we didn't listen. And we still don't listen. We don't listen to the word and what the word says. And here we are making the same mistakes, and it's getting worse and worse, and it's going to get worse.
Right.
And we think that it's bad now with a lot of women having kids. Man, I'm scared to see what the next thing is going to be.
Just,
you know.
First Timothy.
And you got these groups now, like we have men and women living together, and they're just having orgies and stuff all the time. You know, it's like the law of the Most High righteousness has totally gone out the door.
All right, now I wanted to, you know, true indeed, right? In these days, well, I would say all together, you know, for us to be what we should be, I think that our people as a whole, we have a problem with going after filthy lucre, right? We have a problem with going after money, like Brother Daniel was saying earlier, right? You know, it's truly our fault, you know what I'm saying? Truly, we got these heathens, right? You know, they got these heathens on us, right? You know, they got these heathens. They're offering you to do this, or they're offering you to do that, to do this or to do that. But at the same time, right, us as a people, right? It says in 1 Timothy chapter 3 and verse, I'm gonna read verse 3, right? It says, not given to wine, no striker, not greedy of filthy lucre, right? But patient, not a brawler, and not covetous, right? So when we read that right there, what are we looking? Let's look at the leaders of the community right now. These so-called rappers and whatnot, right? Those folks, right? They're greedy of filthy lucre, right? Because, you know what I'm saying, like we got this woman king, right? We got these movie stars and all kind of stuff, right? We got this idiot woman that came on there, and now she's playing now she's trying to be a black mermaid or whatever. She's trying to be a black mermaid when it's like, you know, it's like a Dutch tale. You know, so let the heathens have that. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying, want to insert yourself into the heathens folklore. You know what I'm saying? I mean, man, that right there is wicked as hell, right? So, you know, instead of being righteous and being like, hey man, you know, we'll make up our own stuff, right? Or these brothers that put out this wicked music, right? Instead of being like, you know, I don't want to put that out, you know, and I don't care how much money you offer me, you know, I want to uplift our people, and we're gonna start putting out positive music, right? We're gonna start putting out music that uplifts the community, like hip hop first was designed to do, right? Instead of now, you have all these folks out here grunting and screaming on the mic, talking about WAP and all kinds of wickedness, right? But instead of being righteous and staying away from these roles, right? We got these heathen out here that are paying these money, that our people that are doing what? They're being greedy of the filthy lucre, right? They're not being patient to wait for that opportunity of righteous, right? You know what I'm saying? They're out there being brawlers. You know what I'm saying? They want to kill themselves, and they're being covetous, right? What they're doing, they're coveting what the heathens have. They're coveting this money that they're being offered by these heathens. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like our people want to strive for righteousness. You know, it's because of this money. Like, it seems like our people, they don't have enough common sense to not just to say no, right? Hey, if they have a doggone a part where they got you casting as a black mermaid, what the hell? You know what the hell? You don't need to accept no role like that. You don't need to be after the paycheck, because that's all it is. The only reason you're doing a movie or anything like that is for a paycheck, right? That's what you're doing it for. You're not doing it for free, right? It's not you know, it's not any kind of charity or anything like that. You're out there doing this for a paycheck. So, you know, for far as like rappers or any kind of movie stars that are Israelites, right? We need to turn down those particular roles, right? That's how you start. You know what I'm saying? If you could continue to portray our people in the theaters as slaves, coons, you know, and a shucking job niggas, and you know what I'm saying, that, you know what I'm saying, tap dancing for the white man all the time, right? Don't play those roles. Don't play the roles that you have a dress on, right? We're the salt of the earth, man. Without us, there could be no style. There could be no, you know, I mean, like, this would be so bland around here, right? But
you said something very profound. I'm going to ask you a question in the audience right quick, and I want y'all to put it in the chat box. What is the most worshipped material on the face of this earth? Let me ask that question again. What is the most worshipped material on the face of this earth? If you think you know the answer, put it in, because Brother Aton just said it. Yeah, second respond. See if I've been paying attention. What is the most worshipped material on the face of this earth? I want to see if they get it. I want to see if they put it in there.
Yeah, give them a couple of seconds.
All right, you want it, brother. Money. Money. That, I'm telling you, when it comes to money, this is the heathens' God. This is their God. Money is their God. Yeah, fame is good too, but it's not fame. It's money. Money, money, money. They worship money. Why? Because they even got the images on this money. So when Brother Aton was saying that our people are following the heathens, boy, I mean, that can't be further from the truth. Because what did the Bible say in Proverbs 3:31? It says, "Envy not thou the oppressor, neither follow none of his ways. Choose none of his ways." And so what's messing our people up is that we constantly following these heathens, man. We were just talking about this the other day, that as long as our people are around these heathens, man, it's just like our people are going to get worse, because we're going to have to separate ourselves some kind of way. We're going to have to be separated from these heathens. Or the influence of these heathens are becoming stronger and stronger and stronger on our people.
It's like the head of the house, right? The head of the household, right? To be the head of the household, you have laws, statutes, and commandments, right? You know, that's what makes you as an Israelite holy, right? That's what makes you God-like, is following the commandments, right? That's what makes you holy, right? That's what makes you worthy to be called a leader, if you're keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments and doing it with wisdom, right? If you're not keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High has passed down to his people for centuries and millennia on, right? We're gonna do what? Why are you know what I'm saying? Why is our people focused so hard on money and what they call now getting the bag or whatever, right? I mean, that's wicked as hell. That's why we don't have nothing, because we're continuously doing things for wicked, filthy lucre.
Yeah, and it's not that the Most High don't want to give it to us. It's that we will know how to balance it. You know, perfect example. We got to do a lesson on that one day about being good stewards of your finances, because there are plenty in there that talks about managing your money. See, the problem with our people is that they want to be like the enemies. That's why you got all these rappers. They throwing up like throw a couple of $100,000, you know, just throwing them into the crowd, man, wasting money. And the Bible says that it's going to come to a time where they're going to cast their money to the vats and the moles and the caves. You know, what you going to do with that money? That money ain't going to be worth nothing. And you bragging about some green paper with some white folks on it, some dead presidents. You know what I'm saying? Our people just lost their mind. You know what I'm saying? But if we, like Brother Aton was saying earlier, if we use our money righteously, it could be a blessing to our people, instead of using it for wickedness. That's the problem. The Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil. All right, and our people have become just like their slave masters. They love money. They love and worship money.
It's because our people don't put the commandments first, right?
No,
if you put God first, right? If you put God first in the way that you do, if you put the Most High, YAHUAH, our Elohim, the Almighty, the Ancient of Days, if you put him first when you're doing these things, whatever ventures it is out here in the land of our captivity amongst these heathens, right? The money will automatically come, right? The money will automatically come, and you will obtain wisdom in how to spend it, like King Solomon did. Why do you think King Solomon was able to amass the amount of wealth that he did? It was because he was raised up keeping the commandments, right? True, right? You know, it is true. He did, you know, falter at the end, but in order for him to amass that, he had to ponder, right? He was pondering and keeping the commandments, right? He was pondering on God's word, right? In order to do that, right, it brought to him untold wealth, right? Just to be able to ponder and to concentrate on God's word, right? He asked for wisdom. And what is wisdom, That was not just something that just came out of the air. That was his total understanding of the scriptures, of the laws, statutes, and commandments. That's true wisdom.
It is. You know, you're so right, brother. And you know, so many tests. There's so many testimonies. You know, the Most High has blessed. You know, both of us. You know, brother Aton and myself. You know, but that's not the main point, because we strive to keep the commandments. We strive to keep the commandments to the best of our abilities. You know, nothing else matters. And like you said, you know, especially when we talk about the head of the household. You know, and I know a lot of our brothers struggle, and you know, yeah, the Bible does say that if a man don't work, he can't eat. So yeah, you got to do what you got to do. And I know brothers are working 2 jobs, you know, to make ends meet. You know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, but at the same time, you know, strive to keep these commandments so that the Most High can bless you, so that you can learn some other skills, so that you can get that down to one job where you can do something that you really love doing. And yeah, if you have a skill already, you know, that's even better, because you know, it's not like working with your hands. If you're able to do carpentry or electrician or plumbing, you know, and things like that. And you know, they took all that stuff out of the high schools so that the men could not support themselves. You know, but that's the things that we gotta get back to. And, when you look at the forefathers in Israel, they were craftsmen. They blacksmiths, carpenters, you name it. You know, they did. They were jack of all trades and everything. So everybody knew how to do a little bit of everything. The men.
All right. Let me bring out this scripture, right? 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 7 and 8. This will be familiar for those that have been already studying these scriptures, right? So it says, I have planted, right? Apollos watered, but God gave the increase, right? You know, so he's saying, right, that he had planted the seed of the Most High, right? You know, say he has planted the seed of the gospel, right? Apollos watered, right, means that, you know, this particular disciple was out there, you know, teaching, you know, saying, giving the folks the, the understanding of the law, statutes, and commandment, and now who's going to give the increase, right? But God gave the increase. So then, neither is he that planteth anything, neither is he that watereth, right? But God that giveth the increase, right? So that means that no matter what we do out there, right? If we work hard and we do what we're supposed to do, right? If we're giving, and teaching the gospel, and we're doing the things that the Most High set forth for us in our life, right? He's going to give the increase, because we're going to be concentrating on that first. That comes with anything in life, not just not just gaining fruit within followers, right? But that also gains fruit within the treasures, and that you need the resources and the materials to take care of your family, right? Now, he that planteth and he that watereth are one, and every man shall receive his own reward according to his own labor, right? So if you're out there being lazy as hell and you're not being a true head of the household, you're not gonna, you're not gonna get exalted by the Most High. You're not gonna get the increase that the Most High has sought to give you had you kept the laws, statutes, and commandments.
That's right, and that's important. And that's why that's the way we always push this out, because the commandments are first, and if our people would have put the Most High first. Y'all read Deuteronomy 28. Y'all know what the first 14 verses says, if we would have obeyed. You know, and I truly believe the Most High will still bless us as individuals if we strive to keep it, even in the land of our captivity.
John, question, right? All right, let me ask you something, right? You should be able to answer this, right? Well, without our, like we said, the Most High don't want you to be around wickedness, period. You know, are you supposed to print any marks on your body? Right? Absolutely not. So you got to go, right? You know, you're like, we got to look at this stuff with wisdom, right? Any job that we choose, right, or anything that we study to be study to be good at, to make a living or a profession at, right? It has to be godly. It has to be something that coincides with the scriptures, right? Something coincides with something that the Most High would approve of, right? If you're out here, let's say if you're out here, administering, pharmaceuticals to people, right? You're out here giving drugs and shots to folks, right? What do you think? Is that what does the scripture say about witchcraft and a pharmaca, right? It says that stuff is wicked. So you shouldn't be in a you shouldn't be in something like that, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, just the effect that listen, right? We all have the scriptures give us a direct set of rules. Imagine if all of us was just following the rules, right? All of a sudden the heathen will look up and see that, hey, there's no Israelites doing this particular this particular this particular field of work. There's no Israelites doing that. There's no Israelites over here being police, locking up their own locking up their own people. There's no Israelites doing this. You know what I'm saying? Israelites, we're all keeping the law. But because we have integrated ourselves with these heathen so much, these heathen feel like they can do anything to us, and there's no separation of people, which there should be, right? So when it comes for us to choosing professions out there, right? If there's something that does not coincide with the scriptures, we got to back away, right? Are you going to tell the Most High, are you going to tell Hamashiach got the heathen sweated blood for you? Well, Lord, the heathen told me that I need to shoot up my own people with this vaccine, or the heathen told me I need to tattoo the RFID chip on there so so I can scan them, so I can give them the mark of the beast or whatnot, right? So I'm not saying that the RFID chip is the mark of the beast, but I'm saying whatever mark it is, the whatever thing that you're going to get on there. If you are a tattoo artist, they have to put a barcode on them or whatever it is may be, right? Man, you think that's in righteousness, right? We just got to stay away from that stuff.
Hey, turn to Luke. Let's go to Luke 17, 33 right quick.
All right,
Right quick. Luke 17, 33.
All right, we there.
Okay, if you got it up first, we'll go ahead and read it. Go ahead. Luke 17, 33. Just go ahead and fill that up, and then I'll read that.
All right. It says whosoever seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it.
So in other words, Israel. So look. When it comes to stuff like that, what's more important? Obeying the Most High. You don't want to put nobody's poison inside of you or nothing. And I would rather die before I submit to these damn heathens.
If you want to do true medicine, do stuff like Dr. Sabi was in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Brother Ash, do stuff like study the herbs and things like that Dr. Sabi was doing, and offer those types of things, right? Slakia, right? That's the thing, that's what you should do, right? If you want to really put your talents to use, if you have that medical field background, right? If you really truly want to help your people, look how big Dr. Sabi was, right? Mm-hmm. Man, we need another Dr. Sabi. Right, we need another brother that's out there, studying the apothecary so we can get these natural herbs to heal our system, right? Man, we know the heathens is not trying to take care of us, right? And that right there, that's that's a man of valor, a man of substance, a leader, right? A leader of your household, right? That's a characteristic.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Saying they can't make money. They can't make money off the living. Make money off the sick and the dead. That's the ultimate goal. That's why pharmaceutical companies make so much money with this stuff.
They want to treat the sick. They don't want to heal the sick. That'll be too cheap. They want to treat you so they can keep on getting money, right? So if they never heal the disease, imagine if they was out there healing people, right? Man, these companies would not be have $1 billion budgets. And all of this money that they would have, from our people, right? Because what? They'll be out there healing people. There wouldn't be any, you go to the doctor, and you had to keep going there for years, and you taking some kind of, medicine to treat the illness instead of heal it, right? They don't want you healed, right? They want you treated so they can keep on getting money off you, right? And then just think about the mind frame of that kind of organization. Wicked as hell. They just want you to die. They don't want you to really be in perfect health and enjoy life that the Most High has given you, man. They want you, even though they have the cure, right? Which they know is from the apothecary, right? They want you to suffer, or work hard and give you, and give them your hard-earned money in the land of the heathen. They want to make money hand over fist. They want they want the dollars to only circulate 6 minutes in the black neighborhoods and then go right back to the heathen. That's what they want. That's what they want, right? So we have to be strong, right? All the men of Israel, man, we got to stand up. We got to be strong,
So
Right.
it's
We
going
got
to
to
take.
go ahead, Ox.
That's what it's going to take. Hey, so I want to bring it back. I'm still waiting for the question, y'all. So I asked earlier to show us one scripture in the Bible or scriptures that gives women dominion over anything. Anybody? Yeah. Now, y'all had time to think about this. Now, y'all had time to think about it. You had time to really go through scriptures. Still waiting. I ain't saw one scripture yet where the Most High gave women dominion over the earth. Can you find me one up?
Come on now. Stop playing games, Ox.
All right.
Playing them games.
We're still because we're talking about the head of the household. You know, I like it. I like when women they'll try to come and say, "Oh, we equal to the man, and we can do this and we do that and everything." Okay. I always ask one question: show me one scripture in the Bible where the Most High gave dominion to the woman. Case closed. Put my head wrap on and walk off. Okay.
Now I gotta as being head of the household, right? We gotta we got a problem too, right? We got a lot of brothers out here, right? You might have children from other women, and you might things of that nature, right? But you brothers ain't out there working hard like you could, to get on equal grounds or things that you should. Man, you brothers should be out there working, right, hard as you can. Paying money to some kind of attorney, right, to get equal rights to be able to become, to raise your child, right, to get these, to get these women and their influence, from out of their heads, right? Hey, if you're going to actually, give your money to the heathen, man, give your money to the heathen on a just cause, something that's gonna help you raise your sons and your daughters in the laws, statutes, and commandments. Because if we sit back and we don't fight, right? If we sit back and we don't do anything, and you just let wickedness rule over you, right? If you let wickedness just keep getting these victories, man, we're not gonna be doing nothing but just running in a circle. Running in the same place because we're never going to get nowhere, right? It's cool to come and listen to these lessons day in and day out, or every week and every Shabbat. But if you don't do anything, right? If you don't do anything about it, how could we ever move forward? Right? If you don't write down these scriptures, if you don't let them sit in your heart, in your heart, if you don't meditate on them and get them in your brain, so then when you leave the Shabbat lesson, you go out and you're thinking, well, I know I need to do this, man. Let me go ahead and get me another job so I can set aside a fund to hire me a lawyer to go in on my baby mama so I can get more rights to my children, right? So I can go ahead and get more rights to my to my son or my daughter, so I can know that I need to raise them up so I can have an influence and raise them up to keep these commandments, right? And that's what it takes to be a head of the household, right? Everything is not going to be easy, especially the way it is right now. It's not going to be a cakewalk. Your brothers are really going to have to dig in and work hard, right? Because we see how the system is set up, right? It's set up against the man anyways, right? Whether you be a heathen man or an Israelite man, right? Twice worse for you if you're an Israelite, right?
And planning is so important as brothers. And see, one of our biggest issues, especially as men, is that we don't plan. Like, you look at these heathens, they plan for hundreds of years out and everything. But brothers, we got to do a much better job at planning, because again, the Most High holds the men responsible. So if we're talking about getting married and everything and want to have some kids and what have you, we got to be prepared. The Bible says that a wise man foresees evil and prepares for it, and you're going to have to start setting aside something like brother was saying, some savings, and so that you can do stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I had to do. There's a lot of stuff that I've had to learn. And because of that, I was able to, to get some property in California. And I'm not talking about some 7 acres, I'm talking about some acres, and able to do some things with it. And now, having property, that's like having wealth, because even back in the days, all our forefathers, they had property. They were able to do their thing, like, use it for agriculture, grow their food and everything, and gardening and what have you. Got all that good dirt and everything. You can do all that stuff. So, that's the whole plan. I know it's hard, and I know that we're just, we're in a crazy, messed up situation where we're getting hammered by the heathens, we're getting hammered by our own people, we're getting hammered by our women, and it's crazy. But out of that, the Most High will give you strength. If you put these commandments first, the Most High brothers will give you strength to do the things, and He would not. And like you read in the scripture, you know, He would increase it. He will increase it. He will do the increase. And you may be thinking to yourself, I don't know how I'm gonna do all this. I don't know what. Keep the commandments. Focus on the commandments. At the same time, work and hone your skills and whatever you have, talents, because you know each one of our brothers has some kind of skills, whether they know it or not. You know.
Right. I want to read something, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And Khan, all praises to the Most High, our brother Nehemiah. You know, that's great job, right? Taking control, you know, saying grabbing your children back, right, and you know, making sure that they, you know, live the best on the best life that they can in righteousness in this society, right? So we're gonna go to Sirach 30, right, and I'm gonna read a few verses down here, right, because this is important. This is what I'm saying, right? You know, to be a head of the household, right? You know, you brothers out there, right? You work hard. I don't care if you get you 2 or 3 jobs, right? Get control of your sons, right? Get control of your sons and your daughters, because, you know, we want to raise them up to be, you know what I'm saying? You want to raise them up to be just like you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hard worker, right? A man of the Lord that wants to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. And you know, and for you heads of the household, right? Here's a way that you're going to have to treat your sons, right? Once you go ahead and gain that possession over them. It says, he that loveth his son causeth him oft to feel the rod, that he may have joy of him in the end, right? He that chastiseth his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance, right? So you don't want to be easy with your son, right? It says, he that teaches his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Though his father die, yet he is though he were not dead, for he hath left one behind him that is like himself, right? And then, you know, as I read that particular scripture, right, you want to, you know, say, what does that tell you, right? As being men of the Lord, as being the head of your household, you got to take control of your son. You're not going to be able to win this war if you don't leave somebody behind you, right? You're not going to be able to do the due diligence that the keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, you know, hold us to do, if you don't do your due diligence and teach your son. So when you die, you're going to leave one just like you behind you that's doing what? Upholding the law of Yahuah, right? So it says, while he lived, he saw and rejoiced in him. And when he died, right, he was not sorrowful, right? So like when I die, I'm not going to be sorrowful of my son, because I raised him to keep the law, statutes, and commandments by being a righteous head of the household, right? I'm gonna die in peace. It says he left behind him an avenger against his enemies, right? Avenger against these heathens. And we're going to teach these laws, statutes, and commandments. And one that shall requite kindness to his friends. He that maketh too much of his son shall bind up his wounds, and his bowels will be troubled at every cry. So let's say, for example, if your son falls down and hurt himself, right? You're not supposed to be running over there, making him soft, right? Trying to you know, patch his boo-boos up and tell him it's going to be okay, right? Hey, man, you know, let him tough that out, right? Because, you know, as men, especially men of the Lord, you're going to have to go through trials and tribulations, right? A fall or a cut, that's nothing, right? That's just going to build you up. It says, he that's making too much of his son and shall bind up his wounds, and his bowels be troubled at every cry. A horse not broken becometh headstrong, and a child left to himself will be willful. And see, that's the problem that these single mothers have, right? These children are usually left to themselves because these mothers, they got to work, they got to be out of the household, they got to assume a manly, you know what I'm saying, a masculine role, right? And they're leaving these children to themselves. And when they leave these children to themselves, what happens to them? They become willful, as we see throughout the generations, right? We have a willful, you know what I'm saying? We have nothing but willful, wicked ass Israelite children that have just come up, especially nowadays, right? Because if the father's not in the home, if you brothers are not getting a clear grip on your sons and your daughters, right? You're gonna have an issue, right? Your child is gonna be willful. It says, conquer thy child, and he shall make thee afraid, right? Means that, hey man, you got to be strict with him, right? Hey man, if he cutting up, man, you got to whoop him, right? Play with him, and he will bring thee to heaviness, right? Laugh not with him, lest thou have sorrow with him, and lest thou gnash thy teeth in the end. Give him no liberty in his youth, and wink not at his follies, right? So if you're out there stealing and he doing something stupid, right? You're not supposed to be, all right, son, that's cool. Hey, be easy on him. Nah, that's not what the scriptures say, right? You got to get that ass beat. You know what I'm saying? You have to get hit with the rod. You have to be brought in strictly when you're young. You know why? Because you don't want to grow into these habits of wickedness, right? If you learn young, right, that's just like, it's like the old sayings, they know that the stove is hot, If you learn young that stove is hot, when you get old, right, you're not going to be susceptible to always trying to put your hand on the stove, because you know that that's not something that's good for you.
And that's the key. The Bible says a wise man leaves an inheritance. Sons, not only an inheritance, but you leave wisdom as well too. They keep the commandment. Guess what? They teach their kids the commandments, and then they grow up teaching the commandments. And like brother was saying, you made a good point. Where if our women are having these babies by different men, guess what? Then those children are going to do the same thing, because guess where they look to? Guess where they get their knowledge from? They get it from their home. It just recycles and recycles and recycles. There was something that brother said, it's kind of funny. I kind of laughed too. It says men have to be high value. You're right, brother, because according to these women, high value man means that in their eyes they got to be making a lot of money. But we all know that the true high value man is the ones who keep the commandments of the Most High. But high women they don't want that.
To hit these last two scriptures, right? These last two verses I wanted to bring out before, because this will, help out also, like the situation we have with all these ridiculous, lustful tendencies of our nation. It says, bow down his neck while he is young, and beat him on the sides while he is a child, lest he wax stubborn. So don't be listening to the baby mama. Oh, don't hit my son. No, nah, man, you whoop him, okay? And be disobedient to thee, so bring sorrow to thine heart. Chastise thy son and hold him to labor. Means that, hey, right, he got to work, right? You don't want him not doing chores, not cutting the grass for you, not doing stuff, so not out there working on the car with you or whatever you do, right? You want to hold your son to labor, keep him busy, right? Keep his mind busy, right? Because if you keep his mind busy, you're going to keep him off wickedness, right? Lest his lewd behavior be an offense unto thee. Right, because if you're keeping him busy, right, he's going to be less susceptible to be out there worrying about girls, right? Because he's going to be focused, right? That man's going to be focused. He's going to be goal driven, and that's what you want, right? Just that alone, right there, that's what you want. He's going to be goal driven. He's not going to be susceptible to fall in a ditch with, with the whore, because whores are what? Deep ditches. He's not going to be susceptible to go out there with strange women and fall into a narrow pit, right? Because what the scriptures say in Proverbs that there are also narrow pits. Man, you can't get out of it. That's something you get stuck in, right? Like Kanye West. They got him back there, they got him back there in that one woman, what's that woman, Kanye West and Candace Davis? What's her name, Candace?
Which one? The one he's with now, or the old one?
No. There's like a politician, a woman, a Candace Davis. Is that her name? Let me look this up real quick.
That's not. I don't keep up with that, man. I also heard Kardashians, but I don't.
No. I'm not talking about his wife, but I'm talking about Candace Owens. That's the woman's name, right? Slovakia, right? Now, both of them are married to heathens, right? They hate their own people, and they was writing. They was wearing some shirt called White Lives Matter the other day to try to, just to be complete, to complete foolishness, right? Now, when you look at it now, I will say this thing right here, right? Candace Owens, like, she hates her own people, right? Remember now the initial thing that Black Lives Matter was supposed to be about in the very beginning was the unjust killing of black men by the police. That was it. That was the whole mission. And it have anything to do about, other lives. It was just Black Lives Matter, so stop, killing us. Stop overdoing it just stop overdoing it for the police. That's what it was supposed to be, right? For these two people now, Candace Owens. Now, this is why you see that the head of her household is doing his job. She married to a heathen, a white heathen. So she's up there. What? She's against the community, right? She's against the community, and she's wearing some stupid shirt that says "White Lives Matter," right? Let me bring this up. Okay, right, and oh no, okay, right, and so in doing this, now you have also Kanye West. Who is he married to? A heathen, another white woman, right? And for him, right, is he is he a wise head of the household, or he's so stupid and out there? You see that he hates his own people. He has White Lives Matter. Why? Because he's married to a heathen, a white heathen. That's just, that is, what I'm saying, and our people look up to that and think that is a man of valor, a mighty man of strength, right? But really, truly, when you look at it, you see that it's a man of weakness, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Let me pull this up real quick.
And while he's saying that, that brings me to a verse in John 15 where it talks about, the world loves their own, and a lot of our people look up to these folks, but you don't see them looking up to people who are referenced to the commandments, because this is worldly people. I mean, what has Kanye done that will contribute, to keeping the commandments or anything like that,
Right.
all that stuff. So these folks don't even, those folks don't even matter, But the way the world worships them, and that's why a lot of these celebrities they can't say nothing. If they do come out and say something who we are or whatever, their career is over.
Of course, they'll have some shirts on like that, like I said, because they hate their own people. Both of these folks are married to albino heathens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both of these people are married to albino heathens, which you see, this would make sense why they would have that shirt on, right? And these are the people that our women and our men subscribe to as high esteemed people in our community, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they ain't nothing but just wicked ass niggas.
This is a strong statement right here. Our people need to stop looking for heroes in the flesh. Look unto Most High. That's so correct, and that's our people's problem. We'll look at these rappers and we'll look at we'll try to set their standards, and then try to measure our people, try to measure up to their standards.
I'll be right back. Give me 1 sec.
So what?
Be right back. Give me 1 sec.
So when the scriptures have totally given an example of the standards of the scriptures and how we are to operate as the men and as the women, but yet our people want to worship these celebrities, and it's crazy. And just like who was that one the female Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B, when they came out with that WAP and we showed that video a while back ago. That's crazy, because that's what our people are looking up to. Let me show you something right quick. This right here will tell you that how our people view things and everything. Isaiah, let's go to Isaiah 5:20. Show you something right quick. All right, it says Isaiah 5:20. It says, "Woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil, that put darkness for light, and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet, and sweet for bitter." And see, every righteous thing has been pushed under the table, but all the wickedness has been brought into the light. Read that again. "Woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil, that put darkness for light, and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet, and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes, and prudent in their own sight." See, just because they got money, just because they got status and everything, and just because they have a lot of followers, they think that they're right in their sight. They think that their money and their following justifies their means and their reasons, but they're wrong.
God.
And they're gonna be punished truly for that. And that's why, when you made the statement, that is so true. Our people always look into the flesh for heroes.
What's crazy too, right?
So, and so that's why, as the head of the household, if we truly follow the commandment, we truly follow the Torah, that is the greatest light ever. Let me show y'all. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus 19. And I want to show y'all because, the word specifically says that the Torah is life. It says, starting with verse 19, The knowledge of the commandments of Yahweh is the doctrine of life. And they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality. What is it we've been saying all this time during this lesson? If you keep the commandments to the best of your abilities with all your heart, mind, and strength and soul, the Most High will increase it. You know, the fear of Yahweh is all wisdom, and all wisdom is the performance of the Torah and the knowledge of his omnipotency. See, our people don't fear the Most High. That's the problem. But they will reverence all these celebrities and all that stuff, you know, accept their ways.
Right?
It's sad.
And well, you know what's too sad out? You know, just you know, like if you really want to break it down, right? These let's say for example, you got these Meg the Stallions out here, right? These sisters out here, you know, they got boyfriends, right? Are you you think they you know, their man are the head of the household?
No.
Hell no. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no man in their right mind gonna want their woman out there wearing all that kind of skimpiness.
Their boyfriends are really anything. They're probably just having them there just to cut the grass or something, you know, or to get that, you know, whatever they need from them and everything. But them boyfriends or men, whatever,
they're not head of the household, right? Those men out there, they're not setting real rules, right? Because they're allowing their women to be out there and to be harlots, to dress any old kind of way, to chase some kind of imaginary bag that's going to get them, you know what I'm saying, thrown into the lake of fire, you know, to put a bad taste in all the other nations' mouth for our community, you know, to have us look like hoes, harlots, and you know, and all kinds of wickedness, right? It just doesn't stop. And so we know that the heads of the households, you know what I'm saying, these women are weak, you know what I'm saying, are weak men. You know what I'm saying? These aren't men with any substance. These aren't any men with valor. These aren't mighty men.
And see, and that's why the Most High says it's going to be a remnant. It's going to be a remnant. When I say remnant, it's going to be a remnant because many of our people are going to have to fade away. I get it. You know, the course of wickedness is already set, and it's going to get worse. It's going to increase amongst our people. And so, you know, as a small group like us and other brothers that are truly keeping the commandments of all their heart, mind, and soul and strength are going to have to set the standards. They're going to have to set the tone. And for your friend, like Brother Nehemiah was saying earlier, you know, how you raise his kids and everything. They didn't understand it at the time, but now that they're older, you know, they understand now. And you have to be hard, you know. I'm not saying you have to be, you know, extremely hard, but you have to, according to this, and keep it real, you know, you have to be according to what the scripture says. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Yeah, you don't have to beat the children, you know, you don't have to. But see, the heathens have turned it in a way where they made it against the law. You can't even spank your children, and you can't do this, you can't do that. And see, and this is why these folks got to be destroyed too, because they've always been totally against the Most High. You know, they were our enemies from the very beginning. So, you know, just bottom line, brothers, I mean, Israel, is that we're going to have to do our part. We're going to have to do our part. We're going to have to buckle down, and you know, it ain't gonna always be easy. You know, especially as a man with all the odds against us and everything. But the Bible says that if the Most High is for us, who could be against us? And that's what we got. You know, we got the commandments, and we got our heritage. You know, nothing can break us on that. Only if we allow. And brothers, you know, don't, you know, man up, be the head of your household. You know, women's gonna be trying to run you over and everything.
Now, also, brothers, right? I want to also show you something else. I know. Now, I showed you how to raise a son, right? A son. If you're the head of the household, right? I showed you how to raise a son, right? If you want to go back to Sirach 23, right? And here, right, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna show you what the scripture says of how you're supposed to raise your daughter, right? It's not all this play, hee ha ha stuff, right? It says, if thy daughter be shameless, right, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through over much liberty, right? We're starting right here, right? It says, watch over an impudent eye, right? You know what I'm saying? An impudent eye. Let's look that word up real quick. Hold up. All right, let me look that word up. Impudent, all right.
Yeah, while he's looking that up and everything, again, when you go back to the original, when you go back to the Torah and everything, you see how the daughters were raised. They were raised humble, they were meek. Just everything is so different. Like, I mean, I've never thought I would live in a time such as this. Now I understand when it said that Daniel 12:1, when it says, and Michael shall stand up, and there should be a time of trouble, since there was no nation upon this earth. And I don't even think we've gotten close to that yet, but it's getting there.
Right.
We on the way to some serious wickedness.
Boom, right? So it says impudent, right? It says not showing due respect for another person, right? Impertinent, right? You know what I'm saying? That means, hey, you're insolent, you're cheeky, you're audacious, you're brazen, and you're shameless. That means you don't have any respect for anyone. You like these sisters out here, you just can't tell nobody nothing. You can't tell them nothing, right? That's what it's talking about, the impudent daughter, right? So the scripture says, watch over an impudent eye, right? So if you have a daughter that's like that, you can't tell her nothing, right? You know what I'm saying? She want to cut up, she want to do whatever the hell she want to do, right? The scriptures, you know what I'm saying? The scriptures ain't down with that, right? The scriptures tell you to do what? It tells you to watch over, right? It says, watch over an impudent eye and marvel not if she trespass against thee, right? That means like he don't want you to be surprised. Right, the Most High don't want you to be surprised if she commits wickedness, because you know what? She got an impudent eye. She already got that bad attitude. It says she will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he hath found a fountain, and drink of every water near her. By every hedge she will sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. Right. So what does that mean? Right. It says that you have to do what? You got to keep her in straightly. If you don't keep her in straightly and be real strict with your daughter, it says she's gonna turn into a hoe, and you don't want that, right? That's going to do nothing but make your heart sorrowful. That's going to bring you nothing but grief. Imagine you being a father, and then all of a sudden your daughter with no husband, she got pregnant. Man, that can't feel good for no father.
And see, this right here proves that the damage that has been done when you take the man out the home. Because who can? There is no other nation of men that can raise their children like black men, like so-called Israelite men. None. That's why they focus on us so hard and everything. That verse you just read right there, what you just said, proves the fact that we broke the Torah, and this is the end result of what we're seeing right now. We're seeing a bunch of hoes, and then for our brothers, we got a bunch of gigolos, or whoremongers, pimps, as they call them. So, now we got some tighten up to do.
That's right. You gotta be like Brother Nehemiah, right? He says, it wasn't easy, but I refuse to let my boys become a statistical number that these heathens are counting on us to fail, right? All praises to the Most High, right? Because that's the kind of action that we need, right? That's a man of valor, right? A man of substance that goes after his children to keep them in straightly so he can raise them up and have fruit to offer to the Most High, right? To keep them kids in straightly and to keep them raised up in the law, right? That's going to be fruit that you done brought, right? That's like the first fruits, goodly fruits that you're going to bring, with you into the kingdom, right? You wasn't slack on your job, right? That when you died, that your son was able to take up the mantle and keep it going, right?
And they'll pass that down. Pass that down to your grandchildren.
Do we have any other questions, comments, or concerns in the comments? Let me put the link in just in case somebody.
Put the link in there so if anybody wants to come in. And I'm still waiting for that. I'm still waiting for that verse too. Y'all already know what I'm asking for. So anybody that can show us that the Most High gave women dominion, put it in there.
All right.
Yeah, I know I'm being sarcastic, but I'm serious at the same time.
Right. You sisters got to realize now, there's a lot of complaints and things doing with these these single mother homes or whatnot. But you got to realize you have to be you just can't, so this hookup culture has got to stop, right? You men that are trying to be, leaders, you just can't just be hooking up with every old single thing out there, and you can't just be, putting babies in these women, right? And then, right, on the sisters that have laid down with men and made babies with them, right? Hey, you got to be easy on the man. You've already that's your man now. You're stuck. You have to you have to humble thyself, just like the scriptures say, because he's already humbled you, Not only that, but you and him have become one when y'all have made a child together, right? Don't make it easy for the brother. Be submissive, like the scriptures speak. Hey, I know that's a toxic word these days. Nobody likes to believe in what God says, but I guarantee you, at the end of your days, when you go and die, if you didn't obey the words of the Most High, you didn't obey the law, statutes, and commandments, it's gonna be a hard day for you.
Right.
No, I know what you're talking about, but he was asking because no, you know what he's talking about. He's talking about the judge. He's talking about judges. He's talking about Barak.
Well,
No, Barak was forcing her to go, right? You know what I'm saying?
but Barak was her tactician. Was her practitioner. So
God,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, she wasn't out there. She wasn't out there fighting like some of these women like to say that she was out there with a sword and everything. She was cutting off heads and stuff. No.
Huh. You know what I'm saying? But Deborah was a prophetess, right? You know what I'm saying? She had a husband, right? So she had a man, that she submitted to, and she was a prophetess unto the Lord. And so, for him to be out there, now a prophetess, right, or a prophet in the scriptures is just somebody that received divinations in their sleep through the Most High, right? You know what I'm saying? Through visions or dreams, right? You know what I'm saying? There's, they weren't like Moses. And this immediate thing happened. Now, women that were in the scriptures that were prophets, right? You know what I'm saying? The most important thing about this is that all of them were married or they were either virgins, right? So I don't want any one of y'all out here, going to the streets and listening to these women out here now talking about some day prophets or anything of that nature when they didn't had the amount of dinglings. They didn't had a, they just been out there out and about. How MASHIACH gonna deal with that?
And we'll do a lesson on that because we're talking about like one incident here. We're talking about maybe a couple. You can count them on your hand, all right.
Yeah.
But I see where women try to make the mistake is they try to use Deborah as a standard for all the women as being prophetess,
And that's not breaking down the scriptures, right? Being a prophet, you don't break down scriptures. You just relay the message that the Most High had given you. You're not breaking down those scriptures. You're not teaching anybody anything. You're just delivering a message, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with delivering a message. If you're a sister, you deliver the the Most High, saying we're Israelites, we're the Most High's people. If you want to learn how to break down these scriptures, I got 2 elder brothers I can got for you. You know what I'm saying? So forth and so on, right? That's how you handle it. You don't want to try to put yourself in a position to try to, teach a man the scriptures because that's just not your position, right? Now, if we had priests and if we had if we had prophetess and prophets in these days, that'll be different because then you'll get, a dream from the Most High, and he'll be able to tell you what that is, and then you'll be able to tell the people. But it's just evident being in the land of our captivities, and we're so split up that the Most High doesn't have us with prophets and things of that nature. Those were during the times when we were all together. And, we're all clustered in one area, like Jonah had to go to Nineveh to tell all the Israelites there, so the Israelites there to start keeping the law or the Most High was going to destroy you, even though Jonah didn't want to do it. So he was like, man, them niggas wicked. I don't care about them. Let them die. Lord, kill them. Good. You know what I mean? He was sort of zealous, but, he didn't want no grace to come upon him, right? He wasn't meek. And so the Most High had to teach him a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So.
That's true.
All right.
More questions. Let's see what this one says.
Yeah. Just like I said, wide is the gate. All them people that believe in any of that crap, they go into the like I said, like the Most High, the leader of Israel are the men, right? So if you have any kind of men following women in any damn thing, you best believe that's not the kind of man that the Most High wants in his army. They're going straight to the lake of fire unless they repent. That's just what it is, right? So we don't need, the Most High, he's a man of war, Exodus, right? He's not going to have no noodle back, a wet booty niggas running around here, following women, any kind of positions of leadership. It's just,
and the Most High is so perfect because, like, we see what's going on right now. So, we talk about this all the time. The Most High is it's gonna fix it. It's gonna. That's why when Isaiah 4:1 comes into play, trust me, it's going to come into play, and order's going to be restored. You can guarantee that. You know, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You know, it's going to happen, but all this stuff has to pass. All this stuff just has to bleed out.
John.
You know, because we did this to ourselves.
That's right. And we as men, Salakia, right? And we as men, we can't falter, right? You know, it's hard. True. You know what I'm saying? The sisters don't want to listen. You know, we got to, it feels like, you know, we beating a dead horse when the stuff we're saying, but, you know, we can't falter, right? We got to look for the next kingdom, right? Man, this thing right here is just nothing but you know, a breeze, you know what I'm saying? You know, just like a wisp of air, you know, just like the scriptures say, right? That fadeth away after a short time. Right, man, we can't be concentrated on this, man. We got to concentrate on keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments for the following generation to keep on coming up in righteousness so we can get the hell up out of here, right?
Right.
I don't know about you, but I don't want to be in a spirit world for another 2,000-3,000 years, you know what I'm saying, waiting on the people that I left behind to get it right. That's why it's, you know what I'm saying, that's why it's important for us to you know, for our children, right, to make sure that we get on them and make sure we raise them right. We raise them in the laws, statutes, and commandments. We become true heads of the household and doing what we need to do. Because if we don't, right, what, and you're saying, who are they going to raise up to be just like them, right? Who are those brothers going to raise up? You know what I'm saying? The folks they're going to raise up to be just like them is going to be what? You know, thugs. You know what I'm saying? Pookies, Ray-Rays, gangsters. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Trannies and all kinds of wicked niggas. You see what I'm saying? It's just, you know, like I don't understand why people can't get it. You know, it's real easy. We have to start teaching the ones that are coming after us to continue to raise up our people in righteousness. If you continue to show them the same old things, let's follow all these holidays and let's do this and let's do that. Man, our people are never going to go nowhere. We're going to stay in a sunken place. All right, we're going to stay with a you know what I'm saying, with the horde of unclean spirits draped over our people. You know what I'm saying? Wicked niggas hide in the shadows. You know, because we don't come up with the ways, you know what I'm saying, to fix it and to combat the wickedness, which is teaching our children the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Bringing our sons and daughters in, you know what I'm saying, strictly, raising them in the law. Don't be too easy with them, man. We're in the land of the heathen. When all of a sudden we start getting easy, just start laying back now because you got a PlayStation. Start laying back now because you can play an Xbox, right? Everything's at your fingertips when you get on the computers. Everything's easy now, right? But it said in the scriptures that these are the devices of Satan. These are the devices of the devil to keep you like that. Yeah. Well, Israel, and I don't really have much more, right? Because I don't feel like I want to beat the dead horse all night. But like I said, you know, for the men, hey man, you know, we got to be heads of the household. You know, we got to gain control of our you know, of our people, right? We got to start you know, raising up the future generation to get us the hell up out of here.
And we are our brother's keepers. So don't think that if you see another brother out there and you don't say nothing, Most High won't hold us responsible. It is our responsibility. So you see these young brothers out there, these young lads, you know, these teenagers, you see them going off, talk to them, put them aside, talk. So that's what they need anyway, you know. And 9 times out of 10, they're looking for somebody to guide them, you know, because they're at that age where they just need that guidance. And that's what we're gonna have to do, you know. As brothers. So, you know, when you're out and about and everything, keep your eyes open. You know, be looking out for your people. You know, watch for the signs and everything. Wear your fringes proud, you know. I get complimented all the time, you know. I see a lot of people out and about, but I never see nobody wearing it. So I don't know who's in the faith and who's not, you know. And that's why it's so important to practice these righteousness, because then we can identify one another. I see another brother with fringes on. Okay, like, all right. He got something going on. So you know, we identify one another.
That's you know, you're right.
I think since I've been, I've only seen one brother in fringes so far since I've been out. You know, I'm not saying that they're not, but it's just, we gotta take this thing serious, man. We gotta be proud of who we are, you know, and embrace these commandments. So those fringes were to remind us of the 613 laws. To remind us of the when we look down upon them, we can remember. We can remember everything. Remember when the Most High brought us out of Egypt. We remember how the Most High took care of us in the wilderness. and we remember, and we're going to remember how the Most High is going to deliver us. That's what the fringes are a reminder of, so that we don't continue to go off astray. But we have to practice that every day. We have to rehearse that, so it doesn't become, so that it doesn't become what you call a. You know how you get used to something when you stop paying attention to it. You don't want that. You want to keep being reminded. That's what we were saying earlier. That's what we're saying earlier. Study these scriptures we've been giving you, because some of y'all, should already have these precepts built up and everything. So when you need them, you can use them in a time of battle.
Right. Hey, put a 1 in the comment board, right? If you put a 1 in the comment board, if you've seen a brother or sister out in the world wearing fringes, right, other than you, right? Because I've seen it before. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it before. Brothers and sisters out here wearing fringes, and that builds an immediate camaraderie. Even if they're with a camp or something, you might not even be sure. As soon as you see somebody else wearing fringes, that their brother is at least striving to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments in some type of way, and that builds a immediate camaraderie. For anyone that is seen that on seen that in the world, I know. I know how that feels. You be like, oh, okay, word, man, that's a brother. I feel that. I feel immediately that's a brother. You don't feel like how you would feel if you walk through a strange neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? With wicked niggas, peeping you around the corner. You know what I'm saying? Wicked niggas hiding in the shadows and giving you that evil look. You can't stare too long over here or over there. You know what I mean? Or if you're in a neighborhood that way where you, or you could be, in a situation like that. So, but I know how it feels when you see your brother and sister out there walking their fringes, and you immediately feel that camaraderie. Yeah, that was a good point that Brother Daniel had brought out.
And it's true, because, like I said, if we don't recognize nobody, if you're not wearing your fringes, whatever, then how the other brothers are going to know. So that's another accountability, method right there. So
that's what separates us. I mean, just that alone. Just like, just imagine if you brought your kids up like that. That's a style. You know what I'm saying? That's a style that, all of Israel should have. You bring your kids up rocking fringes, have them thinking that it's, that it's normal. And then that, just all of a sudden, all the Israelites start rocking fringes. Man, that'll start rocking the heathen to their core. They'll start getting scared, right? Because they don't understand, what's really going on. Who knows, man? Probably the heathens would start to try to copy it, but then when you realize, but when you tell them, hey, man, this is for our people, and you get on them, they'd be like, hey, man, you're not no Israelite, man, what you doing trying to, rock our style,
Deuteronomy 7:6, for you are a holy people unto Yahweh. And Yahweh has chosen you to be a special people unto himself, above all. Didn't say some people, it said above all people that are upon the face of the earth. But no, our people don't want this. They like, oh, this is too racist. We don't want to be. We still want to be below our slave masters. Our people still want to be below their slave masters. When the Most High is telling us that we are above all nations. Now, what kind of sickness is that? You got to be totally just messed up in the head. We feel that way. We feel like we want to be under your slave master still. No, we are over our enemies. I mean, the word says that we are above all nations, but they don't want to hear this stuff. And that's why keeping these commandments is so important, because that's what sets us apart. That's what makes us a peculiar people.
Sure.
Living in the commandments. I don't care. I don't give a damn what people think about me or say. And that's the problem, y'all. Too many of our people care. Too many of our people always care what other folks think about them. Who gives a damn what people think about you? Because at the end of the day, guess what? They're gonna be gone out your sight anyway.
Are
they putting money in your pocket? You know what I'm saying? Forget what people think and everything. And that's the problem. It's like our people so ashamed. It's like they're ashamed of the Most High. They're ashamed to wear their heritage. They're ashamed to practice these righteous acts.
Let's say, for example, even if you got, like, say, for example, Brother Matt Ash right here, right? You know what I'm saying? You might go to SD, right? You can go to SD. Man, there's plenty of sites that we go to, right? I even go to Amazon sometimes to order my fringes. But now, if you can't find fringes with 100% cotton on it, right? Does that mean that you don't wear no fringes at all? Right? Does that mean that you just forget about grace that's over you and don't try to attempt to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments? Right? We understand, like, we can't make any kind of excuse right, to keep the commandments, right? You have to, you know, like let's say for example, you're not that good on the internet, and you can only find some fringes that are 25% cotton and 75% polyester, right, or 75% some other fabric. You know, hey man, do the best of your ability. Now, how Mashiach is going to understand, you know what I mean? If you had to have that, right, and you're not, that means that doing the Passover, that you got to get you a whole lamb. You got to get you a whole lamb, wrap it around a spit, and you got to roast it slow over the fire. And then you got to cut. Well, then you got to keep the lamb for a whole week, and then you got to slit its neck and kill it, and then you got to roast the whole thing and its pertinence over the fire.
And you got to make sure that the lamb has no blemish, and you got to make sure it's at least 1 year old.
Come on, and then you got to skin it down, right? Then you got to eat it, and then all the parts that is left over, you got to burn that in the morning. Y'all ain't out there doing that, right? So we have to remember that we have grace upon our heads, and the Most High understands that we're in the land of our captivity. So be sure to do the best of your ability. So sometimes you might not be able to find the absolute perfect thing, but at least try, right? That's the thing that matters. Trying matters, right? You might not be doing it 100% correct, and the Most High understands that we're not doing 100% correct, right? Because you know, that's why we have to go to the wilderness to begin with. If we were if we were 100% keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, if we were 100% know the feast days and all this other stuff, right, there will be no return to the wilderness before we go back into the land of Israel. Because guess what? Most High figured out all of us knew it, that would have been saved. Yeah. But the people that are going to be saved, right, they're not going to understand the whole law, statutes, and commandments, which is the reason why they go to which is the reason why they have to go to the wilderness in order to learn them. Right, because you can't go into the land of Israel and not know and not keep the laws, but and not keep the laws perfectly, because you don't want to profane the land. Yeah. Right.
Hey, let me ask this brother's question. He says, "Where y'all get your fringes at?" So where I get mine's at, I get all my stuff from Joann's.
Joann's too. Yeah, that too.
Because they have the most variety. Walmart used to have them. I have not seen them at the Walmart here, but I know Michael's Arts and Crafts, they do have some fringes, but Joann's has the best variety of selections. You can go online, y'all. Y'all can go on Etsy. You can go on Etsy. Matter of fact, you can go on Etsy or Amazon, and you can get shirts that already have fringes sold on them already. You know, or if your wife knows how to sew, or you know how to sew with it, you can do them yourself.
You know, it ain't nothing to learn how to sew. You know,
they're not hard to get. You know, you just have to. You know, best like if you're not close to a Joann's or whatever, or Michael's, best option is to buy them online.
All right, Israel.
Of course, just don't buy them on the Shabbat, but you know,
All right, we got any more questions? Pertaining to the lesson per se, right? Anything you don't understand about being the head of the household, and you got to be mighty, valiant. A man of valor, you got to be a man of substance and things of that nature, right? Those are the sort of traits. You got to be a man ready to go to war, a man that's in a good, healthy condition, right? Things of that nature, all right? If you don't understand, write us any questions. If not, I don't know if Brother Daniel has anything else.
No, we're gonna bid you all a Shabbat Shalom, and we're gonna do our own thing. Meditate. We're gonna meditate. And get in the spirit, and I'm already in the spirit by the grace of the Most High. But I'm gonna pretend what this day was intended to be. Is to rest and to focus on the Most High. Keep this Shabbat. Any burdens should not be on your mind right now. Any work burdens or anything should not be on your mind or even cross your mind.
That's right.
This is the time where you leave yourself of all worries and anything, all elements of that stuff. You just focus directly on the Almighty. So that's all I have. And
one more thing.
We got a treat for you next week. So make sure you tune in. We'll go ahead and give you the name of the lesson. We're going to be talking about chariots. We're going to be talking about the way the Bible talks about chariots. So that's going to be a really good one, because you got brothers out there teaching that these shiny UFOs and motherships going to come get us.
All right, we're going to break that down.
We're going to show you what the scripture says about chariots.
Also, a side note, tomorrow sundown, which is going to end, tomorrow the next day after sundown, Salakia.
Right.
Yeah.
Sunday,
Next day,
Sunday, sundown.
Sunday sundown. You guys can go ahead and pack up your tents. For those that was able to keep the Feast of Tabernacles this year, go ahead and pack your tents up and let that be the last day of that. That's going to be a holy convocation. So that does mean no buying or selling on that last day. Okay. And that's it. Sunday sundown will be the end of the Feast of Tabernacles.
Right.
All right. You got anything else you wanted to pull out?
No, that's it.
Okay. Shabbat Shalom, Israel. Shabbat Shalom. Stay strong.
Sir, shalom. Shalom. Stay strong.